Okay, he's not a developer. And so when Will references that to try to find some common ground with his audience, it's a little annoying. Will was talking about the game shift in genres. It has. That's what I've pointed out expressly in my reviews and any coverage that I've made about the game since then, is that this game is the best game that's ever transitioned from an online multiplayer to a single player game. It is. However, you can still see the multiplayer in it. You can still see the BDO in it. And they've done a tremendous job. They've done an exemplary job to not actually like have it like feel like it's just put in there. Like all the systems work. They're all there for you to function with. They're just not that deep, and that's because unfortunately they probably didn't have enough time. And their shift required them to do some other things that they wouldn't have had to do if it was going to be an online or a co-op game, because they are distinctively different in how they're built. But this is the best game that's ever started as a multiplayer game or online game or MMO and then switched to a single player game. I stand by that. I've said that so many times, and I'm going to continue to say that.
Played. And then the combat is very much inspired by arcade fighting games as well as combo driven and even like think almost platinum games to a certain extent. So there's a lot of different influences coming into this. So putting it in pigeonholing into one genre isn't the best fit.
The combat is extremely hard to talk about without getting into like specifics or showing actual footage. That's what you're going to need more than anything, because it is so diverse. And it's definitely an iteration from, and I hate to continue to compare it to Black Desert Online, but it is an iteration of Black Desert Online's combat, but it's just done so much better. The animations, the transitions between your combos, it's like it's not just like one or two transitions. It's like multiple animations. And Zero is now offline instead of online. I embrace that. Yeah, that's pretty much. Combat gives me a ton of BDO. It is. It's a little bit more complex than BDO, unfortunately. I probably would have. I like the combat in BDO, and I understand that after you grind for thousands of hours in that game, it gets pretty stale, and there are things that you know you could do in the game to get better combos and to do more damage and stuff like that, because it had that action element to it, which is unheard of in an MMO. So just that alone in BDO is amazing. This game might have done it a little too much, but it's not, because you can, depending on your skill, and you don't need to go all in on these combos. Depending on your skill, this combat will feel good for almost every level. If you're like advanced combat, like I don't know what you want to call it, combat aware, which I'm not. I'm not that deep. If you're into like fighter games, if you're into platinum games, like Will just said, this game is going to have so many layers for you, I think, personally.
Or based on what you do in the game.
Okay. And just to kind of check box it,
Mhm.
kind of from the genre description from the beginning. So there's a skill system in
Yeah,
regaining
there's a
experience
lot.
as well. Kind of.
There is a skill tree that we've shown a tiny bit of, and you gain different uh, what are called abyss artifacts through different things.
I don't think that's
You're
me. I
losing
think
my
that's
bit for a
them.
tiny bit.
Yeah,
I'm
your
looking right
audio's
now.
still good though.
We can
so,
still hear you just fine. Yeah.
Yeah. So there are abyss artifacts that you obtain through a variety of mechanics, whether they're found in the open world, you get them from
Yeah.
bosses, or
This is a very standard progression system. It is not that complex. It's comparable to what he was already referencing from Platinum Games. Like it's pretty much a standard tree. There isn't a lot of branching options here. That's not really the point. The combos and all that are accessible by keypads and keybinds and stuff like that. I played this game with a controller. I am not a mouse and keyboard kind of guy. All right. I'm muted? Oh, on Twitch, I'm muted. Hold on one second, everybody. I just got to switch over to Twitch. How am I muted on Twitch? Are you trolling me, friend? I'm not muted over there. I'm not muted. I can hear myself. I got trolled. Anyway.
I just need to get good in order to do this. If you don't want to do that specific boss, or I mean, maybe it's a crit path boss, then you do need to progress that in order to progress the crit path itself. However, you can just leave. You can do something else. You can upgrade your
Mhm.
weapon. You can do side questing. You can find different things in order to make that fight easier for you. And that's something that
I think this is one of the best points that Will is making, and I want to emphasize this. Like, I don't want to compare this to Elden Ring because it's not Elden Ring. Its combat is different, but I will say that you get to choose your progression in this game. You get to choose where you go and what you want to what do you want to progress in, right? And the more you know about the map or where to go first, which I haven't even experienced all of that in my playthrough, you then that'll make some things easier and some things harder, like in Elden Ring. In that sense, it's extremely like Elden Ring. But I don't want to make those comparisons because I think people would come into it with a different expectation, and I don't want that. I want people to come in with the right expectations. That's been the whole point. But I will say that Elden Ring created a way for the Souls series, for the people that are not Souls series veterans to come into that game and actually enjoy it.
you can over prepare and make any fight accessible to you. Does that mean
Okay.
the game's easy? Hell no. Uh, but I think that there's it allows that layer of accessibility, so you're never hard stuck, which I think is really really important in the single player game.
Yeah, that was the answer I wanted was like, if you come up against something that you can't do, and since there's like the experience points is not like a thing, you just you go out, explore, gear up, come back.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not a leveling system, though. It's not a leveling system. It's a skill system. It's a skill check. You can do any boss. It's just a matter of your skill. And the more stuff you unlock and progress in the map, the easier some of this stuff will be, or it won't be as challenging, is maybe the better word to put it.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
So, are we picking or changing classes throughout the course of the game, or is everyone's kind of playing the same character?
It is so it's a very good question. It's your class. You're choosing your play style, but there is one central protagonist that you're playing as, Cliff, who has specific move sets and everything. But through progression in the main storyline, you do unlock 2 additional playable characters. They're not strictly class based, so I don't want to do that narrow definition of them. However, they do have very different move styles, different equipment that they can equip, that adds variety to gameplay.
Yeah, and this is the part that I think is maybe going to be a little bit controversial. I think when they introduced the 2 additional player characters, people are like, and like I've said, and I stand by this, that's because that's part of their that's carryover from BDO. That's carryover from all the things that they've learned from character leveling in BDO and how the community responded to that. It's an extremely effective way to keep people coming back to your game. And so, like, I've already gone on record to say I do think it'll be the Ninja Kunichi that'll be the next class that'll be introduced into the game. Somebody else said it could be Sorcerer or a Magic Wielder. That is possible as well. I don't know if they're going to do that right off the bat. I think they might wait for that. So I do think it'll be Ninja and Kunichi first. But ultimately, yeah, they all have distinct styles, but there's limits to what they can and cannot do as well, which is part of this whole like they're gonna sell you stuff, or they're gonna provide you new stuff to experience. And that's like me. I want to make sure this is very clear. There's enough versatility, experimentation for each character that for most people it'll be fine. You don't have to have Switch. Yeah, those kind of things too. Lon and Musa. Although there is some of that already in the game, and there's like striker monk style stuff already in the game. There's archer stuff already in the game, so a lot of that stuff's already been visually, combat wise, already into the game. That's why I said that. I think Ninja and Kunichi are the ones that feel like they could add that would feel the freshest. Is what I'm assuming.
The looking at it from a holistic standpoint, kind of the guiding principle that the developers. I talk about a lot about the developers as in this secondary group because there's the dev team and then we're the publishing team. So I want to be clear, like I'm not hitting the zeros and the ones.
Yeah, it's
and
similar to
coding the game
BDO.
myself. I imagine the zeros and the ones as like a DK bongo drum.
That's
personally.
accurate. That's how they do it. That's
yeah,
accurate.
That's how
accurate,
games are
yeah.
coded.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone knows
One
that.
So,
group has the
uh,
one has the zero, and they just
Yeah,
obey.
and it's just like they're jamming. They have their own band.
Yep.
So, publisher side, we take all of that, assimilate all that information, and push it out and make the game publishable. So, I want to be clear about that definition for those that aren't. However, so the world as itself, like, it's this massive world that the variety of content in like is dictated by the devs just want the content to be fun. Anything that you do within the world, whether it's distractions, whether it's having the gameplay be fun, is the guiding principle, which is really cool. I think that a lot of games have gotten away from that. So having that being kind of the central through note of all this variety of content, just we're trying to make something fun, is just really refreshing.
So
Dude,
seeing
that
the
shit right there, that shot right there with the flying.
yeah, dude. Well,
Go.
seeing these videos and,
That was
and just to
cool.
kind of throw in a little bit here, I think myself and many others have seen some of these preview videos and just gone like there is so much in these games. Like
Yeah.
there's
Yep.
so many different mechanics. There's so like there was at one point in one of these trailers where there was like 5 or 6 back-to-back things, and each one of those could have been its own game. And it's just like flipping.
Oh, I
through
haven't
them like
seen
crazy.
that.
So my question to you is,
Can you
like,
link me that? I don't know
were
if you can
you
do that
in
inside the
room,
chat
or
right
did
now.
did you just hear about later when the scope guy got fired from the project? The guy that like stands up and says, "No, we can't do that. That's out of scope." When he got canned, were you there, or was that like a
So
5
dumb.
minute
That's
thing?
such a weird question.
Well, that guy never existed.
Exactly.
Oh,
You know what?
okay.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
because
Okay.
and I think that that's the beauty of it.
I think the greatest benefit of Crimson Desert currently is for people who have never played Black Desert Online and is going to be amazed about how much stuff's in this game and not realizing that a lot of the stuff that's in this game is because of how successful and how optimized and how much development went into Black Desert Online. I think that is like, oh, okay, thank you. I think that is like something that is amazing. But if you come from BDO, these systems will not be as exciting. They will not be like, how did you do that? How did you manage to do that? You can see the infrastructure. You can see the backbone of BDO. And listen, this is a way better presentation. It's graphically, fluidity, performance, animations, story, all those things are better here in Crimson Desert, but you can see the bones of BDO.
We do it here as well. Just because it's a single player game, why can't we have all those features? Why can't we? Why can't we? Why can't we? And instead of that being a prohibitive factor of feature creep, that's just becomes now a benefit of the studio DNA of, well, we already know how to do that. Why can't we just do that here as well? That system's already created. Let's just do it within this new engine. And now you have these additional mocap characters, these different playable characters. You have
Do I think this is a new engine from a publisher standpoint? I'm not sure how much access Will J. Powers has had. Obviously, I know he's the director of marketing. Okay, I'm not trying to discount or suggest that he doesn't have access to everything. I'm not sure if this is a completely different engine. I think this is an iteration of the BDO engine. I do not think that it would be difficult for the Black Desert Online developers to kind of go back and forth with the engine. Like if Crimson Desert needed something done and they needed help from the BDO team could help them because I do believe it's a very similar engine. I think it's like similar to Bethesda when they created their new creation engine. It has the bones of the original. It's just been updated and modded to incorporate certain things like mocap. He's saying his mocap is a new feature that's inside the engine itself. And if that's the definition of a new engine, sure. But there's so many things in this game from a structural, from a visual perspective. So like the towns, the NPCs, a lot of the like objects that are just around are like straight from BDO. They're like straight from BDO. Comment that it was bad to see BDO in this game, but I think it's amazing to see it in Crimson Pigs. I can also see the improvements. BDO is a fantastic game. It just got a lot of bad rep because of its online monetization pay to win schemes. Everybody who's played BDO that likes MMOs came out with the appreciation for that game. It's just that they couldn't justify it. This game is the answer to that, and it's going to ultimately get more people. I could have a whole video discussing how this game is going to literally trap people into this IP, and when they come out with the Crimson Desert Online portion of it, they're about to get screwed. Because the same stuff's going to happen on that game, and some of them are going to get bought into it, and they're going to spend a lot of money.
The two questions. One, does this game feature a fully breadcrumbed main story that's going to take you around the world to the like important places? And is there an ending with credits kind of thing?
Yes. Yeah. There's
Awesome.
there's a through line, and like obviously there's their main quest, main storyline, critical path, etc. That's going to take you throughout the world. You play as that central protagonist, Cliff. The elevator pitch of the story is you are a member of this clan, the Greymanes, and they are for practical purpose, they're the good guys. They're the protectors of this region called Payloon. Their enemies, the Black Bears, at the beginning of the game, destroy them and kick them and burn their countryside, their region. So all the Greymanes are scattered throughout the world. That's kind of the premise of the start of the story of you're trying to reunite and establish a new home for your faction in a different region that you're not familiar with.
Is that the home you're building?
Yeah.
The like, oh
Yeah.
damn. Oh, so you're actually building your home.
You
That's
are
awesome.
literally reestablishing your faction within the
Hmm.
world, and you're building them up again, both physically as well as metaphorically. That's the
Right.
that's the very, very high level premise, and then you start seeing some things that
And this is why I don't want to talk about the length, because how you progress through that story ultimately is your choice. And because the world is as big as it is, that could take somebody a lot longer than other people. And so it's not linear. The main objectives are clear, obviously, but there's no reason to do it other than progression, and to unlock certain things, like obviously camp, and then obviously new like cinematic story beats and stuff like that. Like, and that is enough ultimately.
about that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Is this kind of like a Tainted Grail experience, Tainted Grail Fall of Avalon, where it's like there's lots of POIs concentrated in a small area? Or is this more of a KCD2 experience where there's long open plains where you're traveling great distances between POIs kind of thing?
It's in between the two. There's heavy
He's
concentration
being
in
fair.
towns.
He's being fair. He's
within
being
the world,
fair.
and there are several towns and cities within the world. But
I give Will a lot of I obviously have been very vocal, because they obviously started with me before I ever started with them. But at the end of the day, Will has continuously tried to set expectations, and if you've played the game, then you know how he's wording this, and I will say it's fair. It really is fair.
When you
Oh God.
when you go into the map, you're like, okay, X there. I'm gonna go over there. They want you to be distracted along the way because this is very much they didn't build a game, they built a world. Is really the thought. If you think about it from that sense, then everything, the systems and everything, start to make a lot more sense. They want you to get lost in this. They want you to get
And the world was already established in Black Desert Online. A lot of these systems were already established in Black Desert Online. That framework they already had. Yes, they did incorporate a single player aspect into it. But there's criticism there, and I won't ever get to that until the game releases. But at the same time, like, the world is as good and not as bad as you think BDO is. It's like it's definitely better than BDO, and it's never as bad as what you thought of BDO. So if you had any like issues with BDO, this has improvements for those issues, which is great. I can't deny that.
Okay.
Yeah. The funny thing is like when I play this game, like one of the things that I've done.
That's not me.
Freedom, that's a cheap
Oh,
thing.
sorry guys. I don't
Sacrificing
have
facial hair,
turbo.
exfoliating, treating
So
gravity
yeah.
like a suggestion.
But like I said, this game's open world is you will get distracted. Like you can get distracted. You can find things in nooks and crannies and stuff that will help you with progression. Once you are familiar with the map, it'll become a lot easier for additional playthroughs, or potentially when you're starting another character, it can help with that as well. So there's a lot of things here that can basically stray you away from your objectives, and that is a really good, a really well designed world, and you get to pick and choose that. You get to pick and choose those choices, which is good. I mean, it's really good in many, 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 many cases. It's really good. The open world and the combat in this game are the best part of it. Period. They just are. And then you could be like, well, what about story? Well, story is so subjective that I'm not gonna ever say that this story is like groundbreaking, because it isn't. And there really isn't any side quest that I would say. There's set pieces, there's cinematics that are really cool, but from like an overarching start to finish kind of thing, not that crazy, man. It isn't. I mean, if this is your first ever open world game with a, medieval-esque story, sure, then maybe it'll be really cool for you. I get that.
Hover or propel yourself forward
I don't. They're not on YouTube, right?
while in the air. So traversal within the world
go
is
look.
very, very important, especially with a world that has the size and scale of this one.
Let me go
Um,
look. I
and a
don't
world
think they
that's not
are on
flat.
YouTube.
When there's
we'll
verticality to
go
the world,
switch.
it becomes important about how you get to that verticality.
Oh, you are so
whether it's
right, brother.
climbing
Grappling
up-
hook.
Yeah. So there's
I'll go down
grappling hook,
there.
there's rock climbing on almost any surface in the game. Those are the wings that I was talking about right there, to
on
be
a
able
second.
to fly above the world. There's a mech. So
There's a mech.
dwarven technology. Yeah. So and then of course
Technology.
you have your dragon that you can fly. And then of course
Thank you so
have your
much for that,
dragon
by the
you
way.
can fly in.
I won't have an issue. I
The-
have premium here, so
Instead of saying like this is a grounded RPG,
yep.
think of it like a power fantasy of
And again, like, obviously this has been said in the past, but people want to question my review. People want to question my direction for how I decided to make the review, and that's criticizable. But I can assure you, the best things about this game is the open world. Did I mention traversal? Did I mention rock climbing? Did I mention mantle and all that stuff? No. It is fantastic. That's part of the experience that you're going to have in this game. But the problem is, you can rock climb a mountain all you want, okay? And there are some things that are discoverable over that mountain per se. There are little nooks and crannies and little hidden gems and stuff like that, so it is worth it. But it's just that, it's not like Karn, the rock climbing game. It doesn't have like a system like that. It's really cool, really cool animations, really solid mantling in the game. They definitely spent a lot of work on it, and it's something that should be mentioned. Just for a review like this, why would if I'm going to talk about the game like all these other reviewers do and just continuously for an hour long talk about all my experience with the game, sure, I can add that. But if you're doing a concise review, you need to get to the meat and potatoes and see what is relevant. And I said no romance, no moral systems that really matter. And I still don't think there's any moral systems. There's a crime system, but I'll be honest with you, it ain't that great.
So these things are going to be within the world. So you see these machines right here. They're within the world, but if you get the mech, if you get the dragon, like those are going to be very, very powerful things. So balance becomes important. These are late or like mid to late game edition. So it's not meant to be something that can just overpower the world. It's meant to be as a reward for your investment.
Okay. No, it's just like for something as big as this, like, not to bring up another game, but like the best decision Elden Ring or FromSoft ever made was giving you a horse, and that is, I just wanted to make sure that for someone who like, I don't know, 400,
So there's
500 hours in Elden Ring, like just exploring every little nook and cranny, like that's what I want to be able to do. I want to be able to do it without it feeling tedious.
and again, I'm biased, obviously, working on the
Oh,
game.
it's there.
But
The crime
in
system's there,
my
and there
personal
is some
experience, like,
morality
I
aspects,
really
but
like how we did fast travel points. I really, really, really like it. They're a reward for exploration.
yeah.
So here you see him flying into this area, and then something pops out. You discover something. This becomes a fast travel point.
Yeah, this is where in my review I specifically said that traversal is for you to basically unlock these fast travel points. There are some people who are going to play this game and never use those, but a majority of the people will use those. So dragons are cool, and there's ways to use dragons that are not that are not part of just discovery or just traversal. Clearly, mechs, all that, all that being true, but at the same time, traversal is a way for you to unlock these things to get to them quicker ultimately and not have to go through the whole map. And I mentioned that. I don't know if that was in my review or in somewhere else, but I mentioned that.
It wasn't flagged. It wasn't a reward for killing a boss, even. Like,
Yeah, exploration is fun. It is fun, but it adds like anything. It will get stale eventually. But the open world in the way it's been designed and the look of it, like for me, BDO is just a beautiful game. This game is even more beautifuler, and that's going to keep people in for a lot longer. But that's not going to be everybody's cup of tea.
you found it within the world, and as a reward for your exploration, you're able to move around the world more. So they're not these things that are centralized in towns. They're these rewards for really looking around the world
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah, and I mentioned the open world as being one of the strong points in this game, and part of that is that discovery. And I don't know why most developers that have open worlds like this don't do that. I know Elden Ring does, and the Soul series are really good about putting things in different areas that you can find. This game has also done that as well. It rewards your discovery, and more games need to do that. I can't count how many games where I would like try to get over something, finally get over there, and there's nothing over there, and I'll be like, that's disappointed, because not everybody's going to do that, and the fact that I did should have been rewarded, and it wasn't. And when you are rewarded, even if it's small, and it's not always small when you're rewarded in this game, even when it's small, it really feels good.
So are these things you have to find, or are if you get
That's
close
true.
enough, do they
That's
get
fair.
marked on your
That's
map
fair with
or
BDO.
anything? Or
Certain things have like fog war indicators,
Okay.
but like they're not. It's not just completely easy to miss.
Okay.
But even with the fog of war indicators, you need to. It's a large enough area that you need to find it.
Sure.
So
Okay.
that's you know that something's there.
Yeah.
You don't know necessarily where within that region to look.
So if you come upon an area and you're like, there should be a fast travel point here, there usually is. Is what I'm saying.
The indicator on the map for like fog of war for fast travel points is like you know it's a fast travel point
Okay.
is
cool.
there. You just
Okay.
then
And this leads to my review as well. I'm talking about essentially going from place to place to place, and this aspect of it that Will is now clarifying is beneficial in that regard. You're going from point A to point B on whatever traversal mechanism you're using to get to those fast travel points. That is the means of traversal in this game. Once you found all that and you make a choice at that point to no longer use those and just use the things in the game outside of combat, that's what I mean by that. It's a means to that. Once you're in those areas that you've fast traveled to, then yeah, there's a bunch of stuff you can do in the open world, which still reinforces that open world fantasy, which is still good. But traversal is just a means to get to point A to point B, in my opinion. And I'll be honest with you. I mean, I think the map is way too big. Probably could be less fast travel points, but I just don't even think that fast travel points should be in a game like this. But there's a reason why, and it's fine. It's like it's lore specific, so it all works out, all checks out. It's not anything like jarring, and it's fine that it's there. But to appreciate some of the stuff that's in this game, it would have been better to not have it. But it probably would have hurt it ultimately, unfortunately.
then you start looking.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I can you know what the good news about this is?
I have
Now
had-
we might have missed some stuff in the back, and I'll have to go back there. But in YouTube, at least when I pause, it pauses the VOD. So now we're really good. I know we had a rough start, but I don't even think we got into the heart of the conversation. So we're gonna be rocking now.
This question a few times in chat, and it's important to, I'm sure, important to a lot of people as far as like optimization for not beastie machines.
Yes.
I think he's going to be really happy about this question because they just recently put out their specs for PC. And I was asked the question, how does it run for me? I'm not willing to give that answer, but I did provide my specs, and I have a higher end PC. So I'm really interested to hear this question from a PR perspective.
Yes.
Yes,
was
I
curious
have
about that
let me give the answer that I have given multiple times, and then I will give you a better answer.
Ooh.
But the answer like that I've given multiple times, like it still holds true. So, and I'm looking at you, Co, as you're working on a game yourself. Optimization is
that.
usually the last phase of right before release.
I really don't like these content creators who are now considered developers. Like, it's just a shady thing, in my opinion. It's the same thing with what's his face, the pirate software guy. It's always rubbed me the wrong way.
And it's incredibly important. We are being very careful about not releasing numbers until we're able to audit those numbers and verify those.
Yeah.
It's like, so we've shown a ton of footage on PC. We've shown footage on PlayStation 5 Pro as part of State of Play, not this one from last week, but the previous one. So there is footage on console out there, but I do understand, and not just me, the entire team understands that's incredibly important to have those specs so that you know how the game's going to run on your machine. So we're guaranteeing that we're going to release those specs before the game comes out.
They already did. They already did.
People will have will be able to make the decision for themselves based on that before
They've already done some of that through Steam's internal stuff, so that's a really good thing. But ultimately, they have a month, and a lot of this is optimizations. And I do not think they have to certification. I think PlayStation will play a little bit friendly with this as well for this game specifically. They'll be fine with certification too. And here's because I haven't played on PlayStation. And we expect that the FSR 4 update is going to come to PlayStation for the PSSR for Pro in March. But we also thought that that was going to be talked about in the state of play, and it wasn't. So now maybe it got pushed back, and so it may not be worked on through the dev team, unfortunately. So we might not get that upgrade. Without that upgrade, I think it's still fine because this runs on a 2080, which means that the base system for PlayStation should be fine. This should be a really well running game.
while they can still pre-order. So we're working on something. And I think people are going to be excited when they see how this game runs.
Kind of
Cool.
a side question to the technical stuff. Have you guys announced any kind of like de novo or any other DRM that you're using?
Interesting.
No, we haven't announced anything. at this
Okay.
point. And
And they know. Okay. And here's Will's this is interesting, okay? I'm going to like I said, I've heard through my channels that unfortunately this game may leak online before it releases. And if they don't have this is unfortunately the cost of something like that.
personally, I'm not aware of anything, but that again, like
They can do this later in the thing, but it can, if they're not doing it now, the chance of them doing it in the future is very unlikely. And they know how bad of an image and perception that would create, unfortunately, for them, especially it coming to Steam. And it's going to be a very sought after Steam game.
that doesn't mean anything. So sorry, that's a non-answer on that one, but I can't say anything definitively on that. I'm just not aware.
No problem.
Cool. It's been
kinda scanning.
it's been really interesting because I've been following the game for a while now, and you guys have been putting out these weekly videos and this like series that you've been doing, and one of the like, and I'm sure you've seen this as well, one of the most common statements is this game's either going to be the best game of all time with all this crazy stuff in it, or everything's going to be like very top level and not have that much depth to it.
Here we
What
go.
do you like? How
Here
do
we
you
go.
answer that?
Here
How do
we
you
go.
answer to that?
Here we go, Will. Go ahead.
I think like anything, expectation setting is incredibly important.
That's right.
Because we're showing all these features that you can do in this world. And as if you understand that the guiding principle for the world and how all these features play into each other is how do we make a fun system and fun world to be able to have variety of content.
There you go. There you go.
And then like I think people will be really excited.
You can be like, oh, he said that before. No, he hasn't. No, he hasn't. The review that I made had those same conclusions, everybody. The review that I made had those same conclusions, everybody. He just confirmed, because nobody wants to believe me, that these are surface level things. And they're fine. They completely work. But they're not that deep. And they will never be that deep because it's a single player game and it's not an online ecosystem. And that's the distinction. That's the difference between something like BDO, where these systems are a lot more sought after than something in a single player game. That does not take away the fact that they exist. I'm glad they're in the game. They could be expanded upon in the future. If this game ever does get co-op, it's going to help them in that aspect as well. And those are all good things, not a bad thing.
But it's to answer your specific question.
Mhm.
I mean, it's an unfair question to ask.
But like to answer your
yeah,
specific question,
Director of
like
marketing. Hey, your game's not going to be the best game ever, right?
So dumb.
I dislike the comment about these are going to be shallow systems because all of these systems are engineered to interweave within like together with other systems. So by definition, that's not shallow. Like
Okay. Semantics here. First of all, I said that on my review as well. They all fit to progression, and momentum forward aspect of this game. in that case, they're so specifically geared, and they've been retooled to be single player minded. Yes, in that case, they fit a perpetual loop that works, and that loop is effective as long as you play this game as a single player action game with light RPG elements. That's true. And to be fair, they haven't promised anything else, but I must stress this, and I just made this video because I knew it was going to be an issue. That last feature overview trailer that they did is going to piss people off, because now they're going in with even higher expectations, when before, if they hadn't released that, and I understand it generates even more hype, but if they hadn't released that third overview trailer, which is something I was trying not to get into in my review and waiting for them to not do it or do it, and they did it, then I think this game would have reviewed even better. But now that they did do that, I'm actually worried, because people's expectations for those systems are going to be astronomically high, and unfortunately, I don't think they're going to find all that much value in them, unfortunately. And that is not necessarily the developer's fault, because they've tried to create a loop, and the loop is effective. It's just maybe not necessary.
Because of how the mining and the crafting and all of those work within each other, and that changes gear leveling, and that changes power leveling, and that changes how you scale within the world, your character. All of those things play within each other.
Mm-hmm.
So by definition, like, even that system existing, it's not shallow. So I kind of don't like that question.
That's
as a
PR
whole,
speak. That's
because
PR speak, but it's fair. It's fair.
I don't think any system, like,
Go ahead. Do it.
other games, like, make whole games on one system,
Mm.
and we'll never have the depth of that, because that's
There
the
you go.
entire game
There you
built
go.
on that. But I also don't want to say the systems are incredibly shallow, because they're not.
All right, I know what I'm going to do already. I'm going to make a YouTube video saying, I'm not sure how I'm going to title it, but I think I'm going to be like, 5 things Will confirms that come from him, not from me, that reaffirm my review or something. I don't know, something like that. Because I can take a lot of this out of there. I know and I understand he's done a lot of interviews already. I'll be honest with you, I think I've watched one. This is the second one I've ever watched, and the first one I didn't watch that thoroughly. This one I'm watching more thoroughly, obviously. But regardless, I will use some of this, especially with my interjection now, to make it. Hopefully, it will then solidify. And I'm not trying to get any prizes here. I want to be so transparent. When I made that first initial video, and I'm not trying to go on a tangent here, we're going to get back to it in a second. When I made that first video, I have Crimson Desert. Obviously, you can't plan for anything once you put something out in the ether. I get it. I didn't want the attention. And technically, I haven't even got the attention. Okay, people are getting 200, 500 million views on these videos. I'm getting barely that. I'm getting more than I normally do from my channel. So in that case, yes. But I didn't want that from Luke. I didn't want that from Will. I didn't want that from the community. I wanted just to put out my content like I put out my other previous content and just go with it. And it's fine that I'm getting criticized. I'm getting questioned. I'm being told I'm a liar. And that's all fine and great and good and stuff like that. But now that I'm in that position, I'm going to continuously reinforce my stance and my foundation. And so I will make these videos. And by the time this game comes out, I will have proven a lot of things. And that's fine. Because that's what this whole point of my new channel is in 226, is to prove my credibility.
There's a happy medium here, and that happy medium is that these systems play well with each other to create a cohesive system set that affects the world itself.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Okay.
So it's like it's a tough question, but
It
it's
is.
like, it's one that I don't mind answering, because people still have, like, we're only showing what we want to show still.
I totally
we're-
thought they were force choking each other for a second. I was very confused. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
Oh, the rock paper
They're
scissors
playing-
game with
Yeah, they're
kids?
playing Rochambeau, dude. Come on, man.
That's a child, Co. Jesus.
Hey, you
Maybe
said
as
it's a
many
sandbox
coins
game.
are
I
off
don't know
the
what you can do in
scale.
your game, Will.
Yeah. This,
I don't know how
told
far you got.
I told you this guy's a good guy. He's not Anakin. He's not going into the Jedi temple.
How evil can you be, Will?
Oh,
That's a good question. Let's go with that one actually. Let's fake question, but I like it.
I want to do an
We-
evil run. Can I do that?
So we
that a thing?
introduced a crime system, and there are things like that within the game. I think what's really cool is,
let's see how he does
again,
this.
like, it's
I'm
not
waiting.
in RPG in the sense of like you're still like your character motivation is you're the good guys. Doesn't
It's not morality, everybody. Because if it was morality, you could be the bad guys. How many times do I have to reaffirm my review? My review is so good. It's so well written. And all I'm getting is dissed. And it's affected how many people can view it. And I'll be honest with you. I've set the right amount of expectations for this game. And although I'm not discounting the fact that if this game was let just to run its course and not have anybody like me come in and doing this content, that it wouldn't sell 20 million copies. I'd rather this sell 10 million copies with people's expectations being set and having a great experience than going in thinking something different about this game and then being disappointed. This game does not deserve your disappointment. It deserves your respect. It's a great game. It works if you play it as intended. If you come in with the wrong expectations, which is why I made that Mr. Matty Plays. When Mr. Matty plays this game, coming off the third overview trailer, he's going to get pissed and he's going to talk about it. Doesn't mean he's going to give the game a bad review, but it's going to come off as negative. And if he gets it early and he's able to post this review early, it's going to hurt sales because that video is going to get 500, 1 million, 2 million views, and it will affect the game. Unlike my content, which I do not believe has affected the game, nor do I want it to affect the game, but I do want, just like Will is, setting expectations.
like you can make those decisions, and you can actually be rewarded for those play styles that you choose. You can have gear that complements your play styles, additional attack level based on your negative notoriety.
I didn't want to talk about that. He's spoiling that. So that's kind of a new thing actually that he's talked about. Is that a morality system? No, not necessarily, because it doesn't change anything else. You get access to certain things, and I made that very clear in my review, or my set and expectations video. There are certain things that you can do inside the game, mini games, whatever else, that will give you rewards. That's not the same as morality system. That does give you an incentive to actually try those things to get access to it, but it's not the same. It is a system, and it has a certain depth to it. Whether that depth is worth it to you, that's based on each person's decision. And for me, when I do a review, I'm not going to take in 1% or 5% of people's idea or use case and use it as a generalized review. That's not the way it works.
or wanted system. Like there's layers of that stuff within the game to actually complement and reward people that want to play in that specific play style. Would I recommend like a full playthrough in that play style? I don't know. It's like, it's not, the choices aren't that grand.
There you go.
But does it give you the ability
There you
to
go.
have those decisions impact?
There you go.
and have it be a choice that you want to make?
There you go.
To, I need additional like attack
There you
on
go.
this boss. I'm gonna get a crazy wanted level and see if
I want to let you guys know, right off the bat, this is the first time Will has ever talked about this publicly. So you all can go, and I just said it before he said it. I don't need more validation. Just telling you, I'm just pointing it out. He's never talked about this before.
That can spike my power to be able to do this. Yeah, that's something that like you can play around with in the systems in the world, and it might work. So that's I think it's less of a singular playthrough of like good, bad, or Han Solo. I think it's like how do you want to craft your play style for that individual moment?
Very cool. You mentioned the 3 different characters.
Yes.
Mhm.
Is that something like Neo 3, you press a button and just go between them kind of thing? Or
This is
it
that.
more
I mean, I've disco this entire video. He's not a developer in a traditional sense, but I will give him that's probably the best question anybody's asked of Will, period. And I wouldn't have answered this. And I want to see what Will is going to say before I disclose it. He might be like, well, that's convenient for you. I don't care.
you're making like conscious decisions to play each one at the time, going to a hub, or how does that work?
There are some specific things that we are still leaving to be discovered.
Cool. Okay.
And
Spoilers.
so this like you hit one of the questions that we're leaving for later moments. But I mean, that's because we still have was it 32 days? But who's
Long
counting?
time.
Until the game comes out.
Okay, thank you so
Um,
much.
And we're doing we're doing a media and creator event between now and then. We need stuff to be able to talk about and show. We're there, so we're still holding certain cards to be able to do big reveals of those things.
And I'm going to respect that. I'm not going to say anything about it. Like I've said in my initial review or my set expectations, like I'm not trying to spoil anything. I'm not trying to get ahead of marketing or PR in every case. I did want to provide my review. I did want to do some additional videos. I did want to provide the insight that there's going to probably be co-op in this game at some point. I did want to provide the insight there's probably going to be extra characters inside this game. I don't think it takes away from anything that could be leaned on or revealed in the future for these specific characters that have not already been mentioned. And I'm not going to mention it here. There's no reason to. I've mentioned enough already as it is.
I want to be very clear because one of the criticisms we've seen online is, oh my God, they're showing so much. They're showing so much. They're spoiling everything. Fair. But also when you think about the design principle and the systems and everything and the DNA of the studio, I guarantee you we're not showing 100% of any one system even. Like we're holding cards too, and I don't so and especially like on the story side, like we're being very, very conscious of not spoiling the single.
Yeah, the story side, it is what it is. And I'm not going to spoil that either. That's a non-answer in my opinion. It's a cheap answer, Will.
Player journey for anyone playing the game.
I think if I were, okay, so just from a general overall, and I've only played 55 hours, so I have not seen everything either. A lot of things that you've seen are exactly what's in this game. Okay? The systems are not as deep as, if they were to stop any of those specific interactions in that number 3 overall overview trailer, it wouldn't be that deep. There's things like he just talked about the crime system. There's things you can get inside that if you decide to go down that path, but they're not life changing. And that there's going to be a certain point in this game where all that stuff is not going to be the point. The point, it will help you in the beginning. It will clearly give you some advantages here and there. So those systems are more important in certain aspects, and depending on where you go and how you progress, they're going to be less important. And the only thing that is the most important is the open world and the combat. That's it. That's the thing that's going to always be there. That's going to be the thing that you're going to have to go back to. And the thing that's mattered the most. And that's like any other game. I get that, right? the story is going to be there and done, and then you'll get access to certain things, but after that it will be an afterthought. And that's why I wanted to emphasize the story in the or the combat in the open world.
And do yourself a favor and go to crimsondesert.pearlabyss.com. Is that correct? I'm hoping that's correct. I'm on that page.
Just Google Crimson Desert.
Yeah. And go to their media section, and you will be inundated with information and videos and all kinds of stuff. I had no idea there was so much out there already.
Yeah, I mean there were. Let's see.
So like this and this is kind of just like a tangent right now because we're kind of in between questions. The attire, the facial animations, they're better. Don't get me wrong. The books, okay, the books specifically are straight out of BDO. Straight out of BDO. That art design is straight out of BDO. The cloth on that character is straight out of BDO. And this person will know that too in chat.
Because some of the assets are from when this was a different game.
Yep. Oh, and now he's talking about the other thing. Okay. But this is not from the other game. This is recent.
Think that from Gamescom 2024 and forward is fair. So we released 50 minutes of B-roll from then. We released
confusing.
So at that point, and this has changed, so don't definitively look at any gameplay and say this is going to be the one-to-one experience of when I play the game. That's not fair to do for any game. And
now, to Cliff's benefit, his stuff has been upgraded. The animations, and that's true for most of the characters in BDO too. So he looks great. They obviously put more emphasis on him and texture and all that on him, as well as the 2 additional characters that you get to play. But the NPCs, they're literally straight from BDO almost. It's insane. I could speculate. I'm not going to speculate. But it's the reason why I gave this game an 8.5. It's the reason why I continuously talk about the systems inside the game not feeling as fleshed out. But I also say this, and I will say this over and over again. This is the best game that's ever started as an MMO online game and then switched to a single-player game. Period. Some might say that that's a cop-out. That is not a good indicator of anything, and I'd rather this be a fully fledged single-player game from start to finish, and it would have been so much better. I think you're wrong. I think you're going to be surprised. But I will say this. Had they had more time and been more better management, better decision-making, whatever you want to call it, there could have been more in this game, and that would have made it a 9 out of 10. That's the sad part. What they were able to get done is amazing, in my opinion.
The publisher, you wouldn't want to do that because you'd ruin it for everyone else. But we want to give you a taste. So 50 minutes of B-roll from early game there. There's probably, once we did another 30 minutes with IGN first. There are hours of actual gameplay out there. And then we released a whole almost chapter of the game as part of Summer Game Fest and Gamescom and TGS and PAX West. So there's content from that chapter, not the whole thing because we had it down so people could actually play it, but there's dozens of hours of actual gameplay out there on the internet, and that's only a small percentage of the game itself.
And obviously, as you can see, that's a loaded screen. But regardless of that, like, to render this much detail, and to do it as efficient performance, what did I say? Visually, I forget the words that I'm using. Graphically, I don't know all the words. It's impressive. It's gonna blow you away for a very long time,
which is crazy to say.
And I haven't touched this game in days, right? because I want like my main experience where I'm gonna devote the most time with Crimson Desert is on my PlayStation 5 Pro. That's where I want my stuff. I like trophies and I like that ecosystem. So for me, that's where I want to be. And I might miss out on mods and stuff like that. If there's no de novo at launch, they're gonna crack this thing wide open. This thing is gonna start getting some stuff in it. And I don't know what they're gonna do for mod support. I would embrace it if I were them. It might actually help them, but if they're gonna plan on doing this as an online MMO, they might have to do something different, unfortunately.
Moving to a different tack. Personally, I like games that have, I don't know, I'm just gonna say like a D&D term, like a charisma stat.
Ooh.
Like as far as like talking to other people in the world and stuff like that.
Ooh,
Do you have
Ezekiel.
like I just want to talk about like RPG dialogue stuff. Like, is there dialogue choices? Is there like a wheel that you choose from? Is there like, do your choices matter? Is it
All
more
right,
linear?
let's see what
like,
Will says.
talk about like the RPG.
How much RPG is in this
Yeah.
not RPG?
And I think that
no, I love that shit.
Yeah,
So
I'm with you.
That's one of the areas where this is really not an RPG.
Okay.
Because it's so character choice in terms of interaction with NPCs and stuff, especially like main storyline. Those decisions are fixed. This is a fixed main story that you're progressing through. The
Okay.
RPG and the character choice elements come from how you create your character and and like what sort of build and like what sort of play style that you are actually.
All action oriented. Yeah. And when I said before he said the answer, that was me saying no, it's not in there. Just so anybody knows. Well, why didn't you say it before he said it? I did. And you can go back to my other video though where I went and you can understand that is a no in my language.
actually RPing as your specific character within the world, not necessarily dialogue wheel choices. So, do I do this? Do I help them? How did I approach this specific situation? Did I kill the guy and get the item? Did I buy it from him? Did I sneak in? Like, there are choices that you can make, but it's not a dialogue.
Okay.
And like,
I
but
was curious if
ultimately,
there was like, you know,
Yeah.
wheedling and
Mm.
convincing and charming, and that brings up another question as far as romance goes.
there are
like,
no like individual like charisma or like you have
Please ask that question again. I don't think you heard it the first time, Ezekiel. Please ask that question again, because I know there's somebody out there that thinks there's going to be romance options in this game. Please, Ezekiel, ask that question again. And I don't know if you heard it the first time.
you have stat points, not skill points.
He's still on the other
So,
one. He's still
like, you
on the
have
other
your
one. He's still on the other one. Well, Ezekiel asked the question again, and we're behind, so nobody's watching me anyway. But we're many minutes behind whatever this thing is. He's still there talking, so that's a good thing. But I can't ask him. It's before. It's in the past. It's unfortunate.
You have your stamina and you have your mana and you have your MP. That you can dump things in like the core pillars of like the character that
Ask
you're
that
building,
question again,
and then
Ezekiel.
you have individual like skills within that that you can unlock, but it's not within that. It's not D&D. Like,
Okay.
this is you're not rolling you're not doing a dex saving roll.
Ask the question again.
I'm fine with that. I was just curious, like how much charm I would need if necessary.
Yeah, I mean, this like there are, whether it's Ultima, whether it's Baldur's, like there are a multitude of different games built on the D&D system. This is not built on the D&D system.
Right. Okay.
He's not going to ask it again.
In terms of
That's
the size,
unfortunate. That's
we've heard
unfortunate.
many times kind of how
So there was no answer to that. The answer is no, but I would like it to come from Will himself so that people could actually hear it from him instead of me. It's unfortunate. He had a good question too. Will was so transfixed on the other one that he just kept on going and he didn't hear the Second question.
how vast and large this experience is.
It's a good question.
What kind of gameplay time are you guys ballpark?
He's not going to answer that. He's not going to answer that because I'll be honest, it's a little too hard to answer that. You go from 1 second into the map, not want leg in this game, to, again, infinite.
And I mean like very ballparking. But like, is this a 30
Story-wise, Story-wise, I don't even know story-wise if you went all the way through it. If I had to ballpark, and I don't know if I want to do this, let me hear his answer and then my answer after that. I have an idea, ballpark, of what the story would be if you mainlined it, just because of how much you go through. It's a little bit different because it is a big map and you have to get through the map as well, so that's kind of time-consuming. I have a ballpark. Let's see what he says, though.
It's like a 100-hour game.
You're going to spend a lot of time in this world. I'm going to do the thing where I will refuse to give an hour. I will be consistent in my response on that one, and that's I'll explain it though, like, just because there's no answer I can give that will make people happy. And if I give a large number, then that'll scare away the people that don't have a lot of time.
A non-answer is probably the best outcome, honestly.
If I give like the crit path number, then there might be some people that are just like, oh my god, well, I'm going to do an hours per dollar gameplay calculation, and that's not enough for me. So there's no
That's
answer
a
that I
hint.
can-
That's a hint at the main story, by the way. That's a hint at the main story, by the way. That's a hint at the main story, by the way. It isn't as big as people think it is. The side stuff ain't as much as people think it is. And that's going to, unfortunately, but subjectively, how long it takes you to do that is going to vary depending on the person. It takes me 20 minutes to go from point A to point B in the story. It could take somebody 2 hours to do the same thing. So in that regard, there is no definitive time. But if you were to mainline it, yeah, it's not that long. And I'm not going to give an answer because I want to respect this. But I think he just gave you the answer.
give. That's
But that's not the main point of this game. The main point of and this is the unfortunate aspect of this game, because if you're not into combat, you might not like this game. If this was an MMO like Black Desert Online, where you grind for hours on hours, that's expected. This is a single player game where doing that same thing may not be as rewarding. That's where versatility comes. That's where these other characters come. That's where the fun is. I think the fun stops at probably, I hate to do this, 40 hours. Yeah. I think the fun stops at 40 hours. I'm going to put it down. I'm going to put it out there. Fuck it. I think the fun stops at 40 hours. That's not giving away story-specific timing, side quest timing. I think the fun could stop easily for most people at 40 hours. Yep. There you go. And you know what? Clip this. Clip it, rip it, and ship it.
that's going to be acceptable to everyone. So I'm just refusing to give an answer. The game's big. This is a big game, Co. And I think that the one caveat I want to put there is this doesn't require like 4, 5, 6 hour time sessions if you want to have fun in the world.
There you go. That just literally validates everything I just said predating it, everything I said in my review. It's a really good answer, but unfortunately, it's going to disappoint a lot of people. And it shouldn't, because this game is worth the money. It is. It just is. Like, the experience is good enough. It is good enough. Even if you fuck it. Even if you don't like action games and all you're going to do is just explore the open world for 15 hours, it's still worth the money, in my opinion. It just is. Development, games, man, there's just some things that require you to buy in. This is one of those kind of games where it requires you to buy in my opinion. You want to support people that are trying this kind of stuff. And I know that AI is going to change all this. I know that Unreal Engine 5 is able to freaking procedurally generate a whole entire world, and it's going to look tremendous in some cases. Obviously, it has hitching and there's performance issues if you look at Digital Foundry. This is a proprietary engine, and so some of those things could have been implemented into the game. I'm thinking it's not. A lot of this stuff does feel handcrafted, which makes it even more special. It just does. It just does. If you respect video games, if you respect art, if you respect design philosophies, that's what makes these kind of games worth it. I'd never even played Expedition 33. I played 2 hours of that game. I hated the parry dodge system. But I'm a little bit scared that it was AI generated or AI made, but regardless of that, I bought that just because, on principle. I bought it to support them. I'm not suggesting that you do that if you don't have the means to in this game, but it is worth it, regardless of anything else. It just is.
That's something that's been unique for me in the several hundred hours that I've played it across multiple builds. So don't read into that, internet.
He has a job.
So I can have 1 hour and still have a lot of fun. I'm choosing what I want to do. Do I want to progress the main storyline? Do I want to progress side quests? Do I want to mine and find resources? Do I want to just explore the open world? I can have a lot of fun no matter how much time that I have to play the game, which that's actually, sad to say, pretty unique in an open world game to be able to have that choice about length of gameplay. Because
I think that's a little bit PR speaky right there, Will. I think a little bit PR speaky. Valid effort. Okay, Assassin's Creed, just randomly go into a map and do something. Yeah, maybe. Grand Theft Auto, Witcher 3, Cyberpunk 2077. Does that make it unique with those being the other examples? Maybe, but there's a lot of open worlds that are not those, that are fun to just go in there and do whatever, goof off. Just Cause is a great open world to just goof off. Or I don't know if that's completely open world. Far Cry is a great world just to goof off on. There's actually a lot more worlds just to goof off on there than there are actual RPG systematic things that make it more immersive. I don't know if that was the greatest answer.
a lot of times they require a specific amount of time investment to even get into the world.
That's true.
Okay.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. The
So you're
fact that
saying-
this is open ended from the start does make it unique, in that you're never forced to do anything. There's a reason why you're not forced to do anything. It's a part of a criticism. But overall, I do think that they made the best choice in just leaving it open to the people, to personal preference.
And the main story is drastically short, but you have the side quest. You can do it.
I'm leaving.
So yeah, if you get okay,
Is
so,
that
okay. So I take that answer and I'll go okay, but I'm like, so how long's the main story? How long's total exploration? How long? No, but it's
Yeah,
I
mean,
see where you're coming from. From a marketing perspective, that answer makes a whole lot of sense.
But
It doesn't.
But it's not even. It's not even within that. It's like no one plays Crit Path. So like we showed in this latest feature, we showed the quiet moments. We showed the life skills. We showed if you want to really invest, you can do farming in your camp. And you can raise the crops and raise the animals that then you can slaughter and harvest to turn into food to feed you. If you want, you can very easily spend hundreds, if not thousands of hours in this game. But that's all player choice. Does that mean that that's a requirement in order to play this game? No.
Yep.
Are the
Tell 'em.
systems there?
Give
in
'em a
order
soft
to allow
number,
for that?
Will.
Oh my God, yes. We've built a world, not a game.
That is true in the general sense, but give him a soft number, Will. Give him a soft number. Give him a soft number, Will. Give him a soft number.
I go back to that. If you want to, there are the systems that are set up to allow you to just spend time here.
So on that note, like and a quick two-parter, how does the day-night cycle work? And is there a global time thing that's also moving forward? Are we going to see seasons and stuff?
Ooh, I kind of want to answer this before Will does. I've already answered enough before Will does, but should I do it here as well? There's weather effects. Period. Seasons, changing, stuff like that. Should I answer before Will does? No.
Day
And I mean, no. No, there is not. There's weather effects, though.
night. So there is a day-night system in the game. I don't want to say a specific number because I don't know if it's changed. It's changed multiple times, but like I don't want to say like it's 1 second per minute. But there is a global day-night cycle for the game, which is actually really cool, especially
There are distinct areas, and this is the same as Black Desert Online. There's deserts, there's more wintry areas, there's more tropical areas. There's biomes here, but they don't change. Outside of the weathers that's in them, which does exist. And I'm not sure if all the weather can essentially be everywhere, if it's only located in certain areas, like rain can only be in certain areas, snow can only be in certain areas, like that kind of stuff. I'm not 100%. I'm not going to confirm on that. I've only played 55 hours of this game, and I haven't explored every single thing, and I haven't stayed in, dotted everything. Okay, I haven't recorded everything.
at night because it's also a panning and moving skybox. You see,
It's very beautiful.
not
very
the Milky
beautiful.
Way because this isn't Earth, but
It's very beautiful.
you see like
It's
what
very
would be
beautiful.
akin to the Milky Way moving and panning
It's
through
very
the
beautiful.
sky. Like
It's very beautiful.
the game's has that attention to detail. It's really, really gorgeous. And then things like altitude come into play when it comes to weather. It comes to like things like that. So day-night cycle matters in more than cosmetics, which is cool. There aren't seasons in the game, to my knowledge. I'm gonna say no.
No, the world does not evolve in the traditional sense. There are aspects in this game that are an evolution, but they don't allow you to like complete it. There's no ending per se in this game. Okay, there's no definitive ending. I should say it's a continuation of things, and so there are things that do change. But I wouldn't say it revolves around. No, I wouldn't say it evolves around you in every aspect. Although I would be remiss to say it doesn't evolve at all, because it does. There are some evolutions. But we're talking about weather systems right now.
I haven't seen them in my experience, but as we all
And I haven't seen them either, and I don't think there is.
know, sometimes devs put things in the game that not everyone knows about. But
That's a weird answer, Will. That's a weird answer. Change the subject.
I haven't seen them.
It does look like there's biomes though.
Oh yeah, totally. So like it's not you progress to day 30. It's not Stardew Valley where day 30 and then you're into autumn and then you're into like it's not that by any means. There's a day-night cycle that changes things, but beyond that, then there's not, okay, I've spent 30 days now, I'm into like another season.
He should talk about weather here. Well, I don't know if he will, but he should talk about it.
Biomes or the regions look drastically different, and that becomes really cool because it feels like you've progressed when you're in a different area. So Paloon, which is the home of the Greymanes, like you see there's a lot more, it looks like there's a lot more reds and redwood in that area.
And I'm not going to spoil this. If he does, that's on him. There's a lot of trailers out there. You guys can go watch that if you want. This is the aspect of the game that I would rather you experience by yourself. But we're gonna listen to this. So
Like from a color scheme standpoint, the fauna is different in those regions. Like, so you see,
and I mentioned desert. I mentioned like winter, but that's just a generalized view of these biomes. It's not it's not descriptive.
the devs have made these bespoke in terms of the nature of the fauna, the animals, the NPCs, like that are within those regions to make them very feel like different regions, feel like different cultures. To make it's all to make like this be a world that feels like a world. And when you go back to the DNA of the studio of creating these worlds, like that are meant to spend all this amount of time in, it starts to make sense. So that's whenever anyone says like there are so many systems or there's so many things, like how can this work? It's like just look at what the devs know. Look at the heritage there, and they're taking that and applying to
The heritage is that BDO is a really complicated developed game over the course of many years, and it's evolved and it's continued to be supported, and it's extremely successful. It's probably the third, fourth, fifth most popular MMO ever created. I know people don't believe that. It is just true. And maybe you didn't play a lot of it, but people have experienced some aspect of BDO, and it's very popular. This developer has a pedigree to it. Does that pedigree completely translate to single player experiences? No. They're Korean. They're not Western. Okay, they're not Eastern. Or sorry, they're not Western developed studio. Okay, so they don't have that kind of open world identity. It's a Korean studio with Korean sensibilities, and that's gonna put people off ultimately. But what isn't necessarily jarring or stark or an issue is the two things that I've mentioned continuously, and I will continue to mention. The open world is not Korean. It's very much geographically neutral. It's set in like a olden times. The structures are simple for the most part, castles, stuff like that. There are some surprises, but other than that, it's pretty recognizable for most cultures. And then the combat's going to feel familiar at first, and then if you want to go further into all of the elements of it and progression of it, it's going to be a more challenging. It's hard to really like tap down, but it's not like gonna be so jarring that most people won't be able to pick it up from a Western Eastern perspective. The rest of the stuff, the story and all this stuff, it's very Korean, in how it's written, and depending on where you come into games like this and what your expectations are for writing, may surprise you in both good and bad ways. I'm not going to get into spoilers here though, about any of this stuff.
this single player experience.
You mentioned
Sure.
we were talking about like biomes and whatnot. Is there any underwater stuff? Like
Ooh. I will say there's some good questions here. Some really good questions here. And I'm not spoiling this. I've already done enough. Probably the best questions that we've ever had will ask, from what I can understand, based on everything that I've had to respond to in my chat for my YouTube videos. These are the best questions, because these are the questions that other people have been asking that I'm not willing to give out. They're not spoilerly, obviously. They're just gameplay specific, but they can imply some other things inside the map, either limited or non-limited. And that was a very non-answer from me as well. I'll be interested to see what Will says here.
of interest, or can you
Nothing
swim
that we've talked-
underwater? Okay.
Nothing that we've talked about so far. So
Okay. Fair enough.
I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna respect that. Yep. I'm gonna respect that. And you can infer whatever you want from that, whether it is that I still haven't played the game, or that there isn't any, or that there is some. It is open ended like that. And he's gonna leave it like that, hopefully too.
That's fair.
there are like,
For good or for bad. For good or for bad. For good or for bad. For good or for bad.
and this is gonna piss off our
Yep.
Discord who's been hammering me for this one.
Yep.
There are ships in the game. You can go to them.
Okay.
I'm not gonna tell you if you can sail them or not, but you can go.
That's a very interesting answer. Okay, so here's my hypothesis here, okay? And I'm not going to give you the answer. But let's just say, and this is not an answer, don't suggest it is. Let's just say you can't do that, okay? And it's not already in the game. It will be at some point in the future. That is the only answer I can give you that's a non-answer. But if it is there, then it's there, obviously. Could one reasonably assume that there would be some level of that inside the game, seeing how Black Desert Online has it? Have they left it out for their own reasons until XYZ? Is it the reason why I made my, additional DLC video for expansions and other things? This is a complete non-answer. I'm not telling you if it is or isn't. I think it's actually a lot more funner to not know in this particular perspective, but I've given you all the ins and outs of it without answering the question. If it isn't, it will be, unless of course it already is.
There you go.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of questions about sailing
yeah,
and
yeah.
low and
Turns
high
out-
tides and all this stuff.
Yeah. Well,
they
this-
all have
BDO has a huge when this update was implemented in BDO, it was a relatively big thing. I don't think it actually like provided a whole hell of a lot in that game, but just the scope of it was increased, and some of the stuff you could do inside, like, I'm going to be honest with you, in BDO, I probably spent more time underwater just exploring, which was a complete waste of my time, by the way, for most of it, than maybe on surface at the tail end of my time with BDO. I thought that they would sprinkle more stuff in the underwater stuff, but they really didn't. And that was disappointing. But there were things, there was like a specific thing in BDO that I used to farm all the time. I don't even know if it's still in my inventory because I haven't logged into BDO in so long. But I used to do it for like 10 hours a day. And I would just go up to the surface and dive back down, go up to the surface and dive back down, go up to the surface and dive back down. And I used to like just get so much enjoyment because I knew that I was the only one doing that maybe in the whole entire world, because it served really no purpose. I just found satisfaction. It's like a coral or something. I don't remember what it was. I'm trying to think of what the interaction was that I did in underwater with BDO. It was like a clam or a coral. And I used to like, it used to be like a circular thing they used to farm all the time. And then by the time I run out of water, I had to go back up and then I'd do it all over again. And I'm not sure if at some point they provided like an ability to stay underwater longer. And then maybe I added that. And then that's a resource that's limited. So I couldn't always have it and I would be out there longer. So I would have to resort to this like go in, go back out kind of thing. But I spent a lot of time just doing that. And it should have been more. Explored the seas before they changed the way swimming stamina worked. Oh, yeah. I don't know. Maybe I left before then or not. I haven't been to BDO in so long. There's just a certain time in MMOs where you have to stop. Otherwise, it just consumes you. And that game was consuming me. Like most of these online multiplayer games do, unfortunately. Which is why this game is good. It won't consume you like that unless you want it to. But then again, these systems are different in a single player game than they are an online game.
Super anchors. Oh man, bummer. They
Well,
don't. Oh.
that's their own fault. They spelled navel wrong when they asked the question.
There you go.
Oh my.
Hey, spelling mistakes are easy. Zeke knows all about it.
Real quick,
it happens.
before we move too far from kind of the world.
I just tanked everything with a giant load of potions. Even got attacked by sea monsters. Yeah, the sea monsters. I'm petrified with water in games. Which is why I cannot believe I was out in the ocean as long as I did. But I knew it was safe, like relatively. So that's why I continued to do what I was doing out there. But yeah, I know what you mean. Those sea monsters, the boss man, petrified. I'm freaking petrified of like that kind of stuff in video games. Ultimately, no spoilers or no indication either way.
Immersion. Weather. Can you talk a
Yeah.
little bit about the weather system and how that kind of works?
Here we
in the
go. Good.
Yeah.
Good. This is what I was trying to get at before with the previous question. Now I want Ezekiel to ask the romance question again, just so it's confirmed here, but that's not going to happen. But I was hoping he was going to talk about the weather system, which is not. It's not like I'm trying to get at anything specifically. It's a weather system. It's really good. It's not bad. A lot of weather systems are now in games anyway, so it's not that impressive.
Yeah, it's dynamic. It calculates based on the weather patterns in the world and as well as the temperature. Like if so you see in the B-roll that's happening on the bottom left, like the Celsius temperature right there, that's calculated based on elevation, based on weather cycles of time of day, and then
So like people comparing the side activities and stuff to BDO is like I'm gonna say the RPG stuff like farming and stuff is it deep since it's similar to BDO? Is it deep enough? It's deep. Okay, so this question was already asked and Will already answered, and I've already provided that as well before this. It feeds into progression. It feeds into combat. It's one perpetual loop. If you consider that deep, then yes, it's deep. If you want more as far as morality, as far as romance, as far as choices and dialogue, and how those systems feed into that, no. It feeds into one thing, one pipeline, one sole thing: combat, progression, abilities, items, power, whatever you want to call it. Okay, pretty standard stuff here. Nothing that complicated. That's what you get from this, and this is why it's not as deep as an MMO. This is why it's not as deep as something like BDO, where a lot of those resources can be used in the economy. And you can use that here in the economy, but it all feeds into that perpetual loop of power and stuff like that. Whereas in BDO, it's still the same thing as far as like feeding into that. But then there's like role playing aspects of online communities where you're meeting up with other people, and so it's not always just that specific. And then life skills in that game you could actually use to sell stuff as well, and people would buy stuff from the auction house. Like there's that whole economy system that is additional, that's still in this game, but it's a different perpetual feeling. Now, would this game have benefited from other things? Yes. And if this game had been developed from the very beginning as a single player game in 2019 and it's had 6 years to develop, we probably would have got that. But I do think that the game that we're experiencing today probably only had 2 to 3 years of development. And I say that with as much respect as I possibly can, because this is deserving of your money. It's deserving of it. It's the best game that's ever started as a multiplayer that transitioned into a single player. That does not mean that it couldn't have been better. That does not mean it couldn't have been BioWare or Bethesda or Obsidian levels of single player morality, romance. It could have been that. And if it were that, I mean, from a combat perspective, from an open world perspective, this is a 10 out of 10 game. But I wouldn't score it as a 10 out of 10 game because there's other systems in the game that does not feel cohesive or necessary. And that's why it drives the story down. The story drives the story down a little bit, in my opinion. That's why it gets an 8.5, not a 10. If it had all that, it'd be a 10 out of 10. It'd be one of the greatest games ever made. But it's still a great game. And I would even say it's definitely going to be one of the greatest games of this year. And it will go down as one you know, a very rare breed of games ever created. Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know if they were potentially or not. I have my own thoughts about development in this game and how long things were decided upon and what was kind of thrown in at the tail end of things just to make it work. I'm not sure about that, and I'm not going to speculate.
If the calculations for wind and precipitation,
Yeah, I think that you
like-
know what? That's a really good follow-up, Luck. I actually do think that is possible. And that could be. Let's listen. And this is why I'm not mad that they're there. I'm not mad that these systems are all there, for two reasons: for them to expand from a single-player perspective, or them to put it into the co-op version of Crimson Desert. Both of which. That's why I'm not mad that they exist. But from a simple launch perspective, I cannot, in good conscience, review this and not have those as a thing that hurts the game currently. Them being in the game long term could benefit it. Yes, 100%.
have rain or snow based on that, then you see that be calculated it's all happening in real time.
Real time.
Like,
Yep.
this is a really cool thing.
It's not that it is cool. A lot of games now have dynamic weather systems. It's relatively. I'm not sure about their engine specifically. Black Desert Online had this. I'm sure it's an evolution of that system to some degree, but it's very similar-esque in many aspects. But that's not discounting that it's not here and it's not really good. It is here and it works really well. It's very immersive, and it makes the open world even that much more alive.
That is possible because of the engine that the team has made.
I'll let him
So
talk. I go for a bio
all
break.
of these things are just happening and being calculated naturally in real time, which makes this feel like a really alive and world that you're interacting and living in.
So the winds are howling.
Yes,
Some
howling winds. Howling
places.
winds. Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes it depends on. Well, here, I'll get into some fun stuff. This is the annoying thing about demoing this game. I can run the same demo. So like at like Summer Game Fest, like we had four stations and we ran for 3 days, every hour on the hour, like nonstop. So there were like 96 appointments. Just back to back nonstop, no breaks. It calculates the weather and the temperature and everything bespoke every time. So every demo is different.
Yeah.
Just like we're like, oh, we get good weather, we get bad weather. Like if I wanted to show off the skybox, it's like, oh well, it's a cloudy day. Crap. So it makes this like that's the beauty as a player. But it's the annoying thing as showing off this game is like there's not consistency in the same giving the same demo. And that's one thing that I've seen online is like as the internet does, they'll compare screenshots from the same boss fight or the same thing that we've shown off previously. Like,
I'm actually not sure if Steam allows for the same thing that PlayStation does, and I'm sure it's different from Xbox. There's a time trial aspect of these games that will lock you after a certain amount of time of progression. I'll be honest with you. I think they're trying to market this game. They want the hype. They want the mystery. And I think they know that there's going to be people that are going to be disappointed. And they want those sales like anybody does. This is not a negative thing. This is not an evil thing. And from a PR perspective, I get it. But I do think they could provide like a time trial thing if that's possible. Do I think they could demo this out? Probably not, because the demos that they've had for the media in the press or whatever you want to call it, it's been supervised and so they've been able to essentially talk people through it and stuff like that, and they got hands on with the game, obviously. But it's been very scripted and very managed, so probably is not going to happen a demo per se. If all these platforms allow for timed, like you cut off at a certain time, they might be worried about hackers and stuff opening up more. I'm not sure how it works. I don't think it does, and I don't think even on PlayStation they allow it until after the game is released. So
Oh, the graphics have changed. It's like, actually, that's all of our cutscenes are rendered in engine based on time of day. So that's
yeah,
just lighting.
so really actually a good distinction. Yep. It will vary and depend on the dynamic lighting system and stuff like that. And I think those set pieces will I don't know. I think people will come into it hopefully with the right expectations, but maybe not.
Like, so you can have the same boss encounter and it feel, if you do it at night or if you do it during the day, like the lighting is completely
So
different.
it could be like
changes the
during
whole
the
mood of it.
day, totally clear, or at night when it's pouring rain. Like
Yes,
completely different
100%.
vibes in those 2
100%.
encounters. That's cool.
And that
That's
can
cool.
really influence your perception of that as a player.
And it is impressive. Like Destiny 2 has most of these in-game cinematic set pieces where they actually do render your armor and stuff like that. It used to be extremely hard for them to do that kind of stuff. The fact that this engine can do it and does it as well as it does take away from some of the more cleaner animations and um visual presentation, but at the same time the positives are that you, like he said, you can render everything in real time, and it does allow for a lot of versatility when it comes to different player choices when they get to a certain thing, and that could change their experience a little bit. But that's just saying that nothing really changes either, ultimately, as well, because if it did, then that would be an issue. Which again is not a problem. It's just an observation that has to be clarified.
Does it have gameplay implications? Probably not. I mean, it might be harder to see at night in certain instances, but is it just cool and atmospheric? Yeah. It's not disruptive and break immersion of changing the time of day to a set time when just because you entered a boss fight.
Got it.
So somebody asked a question that I'll ask, kind of like the umbrella question. So somebody said,
Sure.
can you increase the size of the font on the screen?
Ooh.
And that's going to lead me to my next question. Like,
I don't even know this. I haven't checked on that.
how is accessibility in this? Like, what are you guys thinking in terms of that?
Yeah,
How much can we change and everything?
Yeah, the world, like I gave you it was like a couple 20 minutes ago. I gave you a hard out answer. I think a lot of people's fun in this game will drop off at around 40 hours. That's only because that doesn't mean you cannot spend an infinite amount of time in this game. You can, and a lot of people will. No, I don't think the world is as alive as people potentially expect. And I think this is the part that I've been trying to set expectations for. I've been trying to set expectations for. And I've been getting so much pushback, and that's okay because they don't think I have the game or whatever else. It's fine, whatever. It does feel alive, but that's perspective. It's not GTA levels alive. It's not Cyberpunk 2077 alive, and I don't even know where you scale that in your brain as being alive. There's not really a game out there that is alive. GTA is probably the closest to being alive than any other game. You're not even gonna. It's not even that. It's not even that close. A lot of it feels scripted. A lot of it feels static. There are elements that make it more alive, and your choices of how you explore, where you go, and stuff like that, that makes it alive. But the world's static. Those are just your movements, your choices, your decisions. Those things do feel alive. Does that make sense? Was that confusing for you, Locke? Tell me if it is. I'll try to explain it a little bit better if not.
UI, there's a UI slider.
Oh, I gotta turn my camera back on. Sorry.
I haven't messed with it personally, so I don't want to commit to like how big it can get.
I have not. I've messed with some of the graphical stuff, but and I do not expect that to be the final patch. So I think it'll get improvement. I haven't messed with any of this stuff.
I'll mess with that between now and in the next week just to be able to do follow-up questions on it. But yes, there is a way to adjust some of those things. UI being the easy one. You're probably
Yeah,
going to ask
as an older
controls.
gamer, we need
Yeah.
bigger chat.
Yeah. So, and I mean, it depends on screen size. If you're having this game on like a 65-inch TV in your living room, that's very different than having it on your 27-inch monitor.
I mean, and to further exasperate the answer that I just gave you, I mean, you're looking at the B-roll here. It's pretty indicative of the game.
At your PC or something. So there is a
Does this look alive to you? In your opinion?
slider for UI that you can adjust based on what your situation is.
Awesome. And fully rebindable controls?
We're talking about that later.
You mean like the NPCs? Like I see some NPCs like look like too much of an NPC, not that much. Like, yeah, that's what I mean, Locke. Exactly. And if you know anything about Black Desert Online, you'll know exactly what you're gonna get here from an NPC level. That is not a complete answer because the story-specific NPCs, the side missions, they're a lot more alive. But they're like, you can tell that they're a set piece. They're there to do a certain thing, and that's it. They're not doing much else outside of that, and that's fine. All right. But it's not like a GTA where the unpredictability of these animations are going to impress you if you watch them for an hour. That's not what you're getting here. And if you play Black Desert Online, you're going to understand that in a better way than what I could probably explain it. But maybe if he approaches this, you'll also see, unless this is part of a side quest, then it might actually be more cinematic. And I'm not even sure because I don't even remember this specific interaction.
That's
sounds
so that's one of the things that we're leaving for
Yeah, it's a side mission
for later.
Right.
But we hear people, it's on our radar. We'll have a better answer for you before launch.
Cool.
That should I just want, not just you, but any dev out there, that should always be. It should just be.
And again, this is rendered inside the game. When Will was talking about day and night cycles, if this was at night, you'd experience this that night. If it was raining, you'd experience that raining. The armor would still be the same. Your armor, whatever you're wearing, would be rendered. Like I said, this used to be extremely hard for engines to do. They've gotten a lot better. And I'll be honest with you, it's one of the best ways to leverage your gameplay. I love Destiny 2, where you can wear your armor and see it inside cinematics. I love Diablo, where you can do the same thing, even though it's not nearly as customizable as Destiny. Does Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Elden Ring, I think, does the same thing, and that is impressive.
Along with skippable cutscenes, rebindable control.
NPCs probably not good. They're probably not going to work on that. If they're going to be romance in the game, they're probably going to select certain NPCs, certain story specific things that potentially could, but I don't think they're going to make it. There's too many. I think the world is too big. I think that's way too complicated. I think that would bring down the performance of the game. That's what people are worried about with Fable, with 1,000 NPCs in that game. But that game started as a single player game from the get go, so they've had that philosophy or that mindset from the very beginning. So they've been able to focus on that. This game didn't have that in the beginning. I don't think they can add that specifically, no. But there's other things they can add that would make it more alive. And they could definitely increase animations in some NPC maneuver, different things. And they could add more scripted stuff too.
controls.
There you go.
100%
So the-
for every game.
And
So let me
Yeah.
let me talk.
I know you don't need it in games. I know that. And I just wanted to point out in my review that there wasn't any. People didn't know that before then. People didn't know that there wasn't any romance. One could believe that there would be romance in a game like this, though. And you're welcome.
Let me talk about it for a second because it becomes a little bit more complicated. And
Okay.
that's because so and I do this is not an excuse by any means, but it becomes a point
might
of,
be. It
of
might be.
conversation.
It might be.
Okay.
We've shown off a lot you can do in this game.
There you go.
In terms of skill sets and everything. There are only a singular amount of buttons on a gamepad. So then it becomes the devs have worked very, very hard
Yep.
to make these button presses make sense both in and out of combat. So
I need to make this distinction here. When I did my review, I made sure to emphasize that the amount of budget, the amount of time that went into this combat system, it's way more involved than Black Desert Online. And I mean that from an animation perspective, and I also mean that from a depth perspective. Like, that is the part of this single player game that is the most innovative. And I cannot speak for anybody else. The feel for me is good, but I'm a very simple kind of person. When things get too complex, I just go to basic shit. I don't even go that complex. I'm not a fighter. I don't like fighter games, so I'm not into that kind of stuff. And there is that aspect in this game. So it's gonna vary, and I could not definitively tell you if you're gonna like it or not. But I think Will is making the right conclusions here. That they've. It's not that they haven't worked hard, because they've tried their hardest to make it feel AAA, and I think it will. I really do. I am so optimistic that when people get to experience this firsthand, the combat in this game, that's where they're going to fall in love with this game more than anything. I have not played this on keyboard, and I will never play it on keyboard. I never played BDO on keyboard either, and I would not. So I can't tell you how that feels, and I'm sorry.
the button for grapple is also the button for grab out of combat.
Yeah, that's possible luck. That's possible
So-
luck.
Naturally, like as you're playing this game, your muscle memory will develop.
Yep.
Because of that, there are so many intertwined systems that it becomes very difficult to do just say, let's just rebind that command, because those systems are tied together. So we're working on it. We're trying to figure out a solution, but it's not as simple as it would be in other games, which is why
It's so combat centric, and the animations are so reliant on a previous button combination, that I think that's where Will is talking about. I haven't even tried. I didn't even I barely even scratched the option menu in this game. So I had no idea if it was available or not, but obviously it sounds like it's a no, and I never changed my bindings, and you just kind of work within the system. And I'm a basic person though, so
we're like we're being a little hesitant about it.
And I gotta be honest, and I gotta confess that I wasn't even thinking about controllers. I really
Yeah,
wasn't. Like
that-
when I brought up that question, I was not thinking about
Well,
how
but-
many the limited number of buttons on a controller.
Well, Zeke, like, how do you play third-person perspective games? Like, do you play it with a gamepad? Do you play a KBM? Like, how do you play?
Well, it honestly depends on the game, but more often than not, controller. And I didn't even
Yeah.
think about that.
And that's like it. They're
I have not played this on using Will's terms, which I never will because I'm not a PC Master Race kind of guy. I've never played it on a KBM, which stands for keyboard and mouse. I'm assuming. Maybe that right there is a sign to play it on controller. Maybe that's them admitting that this game is not as good or as optimized as it should be for the PC. I doubt it because people have really had a great experience playing BDO. So I think they probably figured it out here as well. But there is more here than there is in BDO. So maybe not. Maybe not.
There are a set number of buttons that you have on a controller. Like, so how do you account for that both in and out of combat without completely
Confusing people.
disrupting
Yep.
the systems that make the
How they did it, in my opinion, from my experience, is that a lot of these animations are going to be what helps you and aids you in your combat, in the way it feels and the way it controls. And in my opinion, that's a positive. I'm not sure if that's going to be in everybody's experience, though.
these buttons make sense both in and out of combat, and that's so
Ranger
we're
launch so
working
much
on
fun?
it. We'll
Sure,
have a better
that's fair.
answer before launch, but I just
Yeah.
want to explain that it's not as simple as just turn on the customization button.
Yeah, no, for real. Like I retract the cavalierness that I asked.
Oh,
my
no,
question with.
Well,
I've
yeah,
never
and-
I've been working in this space for 20 years. I've never had this problem. Like this is a new situation, which is why I think it bears a full explanation. We're not being jerks about not allowing customization. We're trying to figure out a way to do it correctly.
True. Yeah, I was going to say it'd definitely be a very solid direction to make sure. A lot of times it's the things that you may not necessarily think about. Like if somebody cannot physically reach certain buttons and needs to
Yes.
move them so they can play the game, it's one thing for controls to be intuitive. It's another thing to be able to use them at all. So
Yes.
having fully rebindable can be very important for that.
Oh,
Regardless.
yes.
Yeah. But,
So
but I see where you're going with your answer too. And we're already running into some similar stuff on our side with that too, where it's like the conjoined stuff. I mean, FromSoft has been characteristically never broken controls in some of those
Yeah.
cases because it just doesn't, it's a hard thing to do. So that makes
Yeah. I go on a whole tangent about accessibility in games. And I won't. And I was trying to take a break here and eat just a little bit of piece of meat. But anyway, don't ever tell me that accessibility should be in Dark Souls or Demon Souls or Bloodborne or Sekiro. Because that combat feels the way it does and I'm not even sure if Elden Ring has it anymore. It might. So maybe I'm just talking on my ass. And maybe it's not even, maybe the point I'm making is so mute at this point doesn't even make sense. But some games should not get accessibility options or have like all of the accessibility options. Does that mean that some people will not be able to play their game? Yeah. And I think, unfortunately, and you might call me an asshole, I think that's okay. Are there more story-driven games that are less combat-heavy, that do not rely on action to be the focal point, that can have all the accessibility options and essentially you can have a story mode? Yeah. Do I think, what was that game that came out? It was called, it was the Xbox exclusive game, and it was set in the South. Something. Anyway, you could skip the bosses. You could skip basically combat, even though it was like a platformer combat game. Don't do that. Don't do that for accessibility. That ruins the entire purpose of a game, in my opinion. Specifically in video games. Gameplay strengthens story in video games. That's what makes it unique. If you just wanted a story without any combat, go watch a movie. I'm sorry. And Koa is part of this initiative on Twitch to be inclusive, and apparently as he's developing this game or whatever he's doing for his game, I don't know what exactly his deal is. they're running the same issue, and it's very difficult. In some games, it's very difficult. In other games, it's a lot easier. For the games that's a lot easier, I'm not gonna fight it. I'm be like, whatever, dude, whatever. But there are certain things that I just stand firm on. And if this game is having difficulties with that, and it would hurt the overall experience, and it would hurt muscle memory and stuff like that, don't.
Makes sense.
Right. And accessibility becomes this really difficult topic because if you do it halfway, then you're a jerk to the people that you're leaving out. So it
What did we know from the interview and game showcase with Luke? Optimum?
but if you don't address it at all, then you're being a jerk to every. So
Uh-oh.
it's a very, very sensitive topic, and we're trying to approach it mindfully. Is what I can say. It's we're aware, we're on it, we're trying to have the right answer for it.
That's a great position. That's a lot more than a lot of games take these days. So that's a good position to hold on in for sure. Excellent.
Cool.
I'm not saying no.
No, go ahead, JB.
Well, I was going to say, with tons of questions in chat. I will say, from a community perspective, you guys have some pretty diehard fans already. Who are
God.
really
You have a
begging.
diehard community.
Yeah, you have a diehard community. Yeah,
Yeah.
which
They
are
do.
really wanting some name.
The BDO community is one aspect of that. Then there's this whole other community that just was created from Crimson Desert. And then there's like this in-between community that knows about BDO or knows what games like this should be and have expectations. Those kind of gamers, that kind of gamer right there is the one I'm most worried about. The one in between. How many of those represent the community? Those could hurt the game.
Gritty, so maybe I'll do some lightning round here in just a sec.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, can you hear me, or did my voice?
You're
come-
If you come from BDO and you play this game, I think you're gonna have a fantastic time. In my opinion, if you are generally light on details and come into this game and you don't have any expectations, I think you're gonna love this game. It's the in-between people that I think are gonna have the most issues. I really do. I really do. It's the Maddies, the Mr. Maddie plays, are gonna have the most issues with this game. They come in with a lot of baggage. There's a lot of baggage with a Mr. Maddie plays. This is why I'm not recommending giving him a code. I think he could hurt this community big time before it even begins. And we need less of that now in today's standard, in my opinion.
perfectly
just
fine.
fine.
Voice
Yeah.
is
Okay,
perfect.
perfect.
The audio,
Unless we're talking about Marathon, which I dogpile on all the time. You want to know why I dogpile on Marathon all the time? Because it deserves it.
audio, as long as you are still broadcasting, we will hear your audio.
Yeah,
so we're good.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I think that I want to go back to what I said at the very beginning is that this had been almost a secret. Like it had been like this thing that was under wraps, and we were being very calculated about the little things that we were putting out for the longest time. And there's been an abrupt shift, probably January of this year. So within the last like 60 days of just transparency of like, we're ready to talk.
Yeah.
Like, and we're saying everything. Like, we're ready to fully address. I don't think a lot of people and a lot of communities have experienced that. Not just the transparency, but the shift is so dramatic that it becomes almost a thing in its own. And
I mean, that's a little bit PR speaky right there, Will. I mean, come on. I think you're just glazing it up a little too hard, bud.
that's in a very positive way. That's evangelized the community around this game. Of they're making the game. Their words. They're making the game that we want, and they're answering all of our questions. Which I'm glad that that's seen, because that's what we're trying to do. Because from a DNA of a studio standpoint, again, so we come from a live service heritage. So without our fans, we are nothing as a studio.
Well, that's true.
So that's like
It's anything. though.
addressing and like we're doing this.
This is the scary part of this game. A part that I'm really skeptical about I want to warn people, but then again, I don't. I think there's a number of people who play this game for the first time who have never played BDO are going to fall in love with it. And then once they start adding online potentially to this engine, or maybe not, maybe they do a separate engine and call it Crimson Desert Online. I'm worried because what I don't want, because I am someone who is familiar with gacha, I'm familiar with mobile games. I don't want them people to be abused or manipulated. Because once you get into an online ecosystem like Black Desert, and I was guilty of this as well, not the extent. I mean, I've already admitted to what I've spent in that game, and I willingly did that at the tail end. But in the beginning, I did get sucked up, and I got sucked up into a lot of these transactional microtransaction games that are extremely predatory and pervasive, and it's unfortunate. And I don't want that. So this part of it I don't like, because once you build up the community and build trust, which I think this game can do, I do think that they have intentions to make it online. I think they do have intentions to transaction it a little bit here and there. I'm not saying it's going to be pay to win. I'm not saying it's going to be egregious. It might not be. I'm worried that it might. And I do want to make a video saying that. I'm not sure when I'll do that. I'm probably going to wait until after release to do that. I've kind of hinted at it. I try to make that online aspect of it just so people are aware beforehand, because nobody's talking about that aspect. I mean, maybe there is some conversations, but it's very loosey-goosey. I'm definitively saying that there's going to be some aspect of that. I just don't know how bad it's going to be.
For the fans becomes incredibly important. So that's always like kind of at the root of the decisions and the choices that we're making and how we're communicating. So I think that this really inspired a community that rallies around us, and it's nice to have their support, to be honest.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Unless you're on the opposite end of that support. It's not very nice. I can say that. Deservedly so. I deserve it. I deserve it to some extent. I've already talked about this previously earlier in the video, in this live stream. I never wanted that kind of attention. I got it. I understand what that comes with it. From what I'm getting, I should be getting more views. I should be getting more traction. I'm not. It's totally fine. I never expected this to begin with. But at the same time, because this community is so devout, you get a lot of people very angry when they don't like people in the community or think that they're saying things that are not true. That's fine. Comes with the territory.
Deke, you're gonna
I'm
ask something.
still not answering all your questions, community.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and somebody pointed this out. Somebody at the beginning was like, I thought Will was going to answer every single question. He said we could ask any question. He didn't say he would
Yes.
answer every question.
Yes.
Those are two different things.
He's actually, there's been, what is it? I don't know what the count is. 2 or 3 different questions that were not answered previously that he's answered this one. The crime system, he did answer a lot about the crime system. He talked about the rewards inside that. I know that's the one new, I know that's definitively a new information.
And also, like with a game like this, and with as fervent of a community as it has, there's going to be too many questions. There's going to be
No.
such a thing
Some
as
stuff
like,
you don't want to answer. Sometimes.
well, and also shit that's been answered, 100 times before that keeps getting brought up because no one bothers to look to see if it's been answered.
Yeah, but like the community is really good, like about directing to and knowing what information is out there. The difficulty becomes when things had been said from official channels previously and are no longer accurate. I think a lot of those things have been corrected. Like there's a very small subset of people that still think the game's an MMORPG. Like,
Yeah.
that's a new challenge.
And I've never said that. Obviously there was a time when everybody was saying that, but I've never said that about anything now currently. I'm just saying that eventually there will be some online component, and they're not talking about that specifically, which is fine from a PR marketing, from a development, from that perspective. But I felt it necessary to talk about it for many reasons, and one of them was just the thing I just highlighted about taking advantage of a community and potentially leveraging that community with a lot of microtransactions, which you might not think will affect them, but it will. If you're part of it, unfortunately, you get wrapped up into all that.
Challenge correcting information that
What's the romance? They've talked about the romance. That's new too. He definitively can. Actually, no. Zeke asked if there was. There was a prior question. I've already said no. There isn't. I've already answered the question. Will decided not to, or Will didn't hear the question. I don't know which. But there isn't. But Will hasn't technically said it definitively, so you don't. People don't trust me. I was hoping Will was going to say it so I could use it, because if it comes from him, at least people can now know for sure there isn't any. And people will still question if there is. There isn't.
well because it was accurate. That was the
Okay, when was that? I didn't know that. I didn't know that until after I played the game. When was that known specifically? Optimum. I'll play the game while you respond.
case. And so and I think that's the beauty is some of those things because of that built the systems that make this game so unique. Without that heritage, then I don't think there would be all these systems and all these things that make people say, I've never seen a game like this. That's why.
Quick, speaking of which, this is purely single player, right? Did you guys bring
Purely
any of
single
the-
player.
Okay, cool.
Sing-
So
yep.
there's no like. Okay, good.
This is a purely single player game.
Very cool.
I would say that
Okay. I have to comment on his facial expression because I do think he knows their plans for the future. His definitely a single player game right now. It is definitely a single player game. There's no doubt about that. But I think he knows too. I think he knows what's coming.
at on the investor call last week, they said that they would investigate potential stuff post launch if it made sense.
Yeah, that was last week, the investor call. When did I do my review? When did I do my so the investor call apparently was last week, right? When did I do my DLC thing? I don't it doesn't really matter because I didn't watch that investor call. I had no idea that was the discussion, but I just want to see, for my own sake, to see I just for my own it was February 8th. We were talking a week ago as of today. My DLC post-launch content DLC expansions. And at the end I talked about co-op. We did I would say that there it is.
But there is no multiplayer elements that are being developed at this moment.
I think that's a stretch. Will, I've been very kind to you today. I don't know what your loose definition of being developed today. We already know it was in the game before. We know the engine is the same engine that was previously the MMO co-op version of this game. We know that the systems exist. Could this be a completely void? Could this engine have been stripped from that completely and it no longer connected at all from the network? The codes and stuff that persist. I'm not a data miner. I'm not going to go into the thing and see if any of that stuff does exist. I would never do that. I'd never do that. It's not my thing. I'm not a modder. I'm not anything like that. I just don't believe this. I don't believe this. This is Pearl Abyss, boys, girls. This is Pearl Abyss. All right. Before that was Cacao. Before that it was come on, you can do this. You can do this. You can do this. You can do this. What was the other company before that? I forgot. I want to say it was Pearl Abyss, but I don't think it was. I can't think of the original company before Cacao took it, and then Pearl Abyss took it over from there. Anyway.
Investigated post launch. Like there is nothing we are holding back.
They have to say that, and that is true. Except there's characters they're holding back, I'm sure.
From the launch of this game for 30, 60-day content like that. We are putting everything into launch.
Cool.
Also, I'm not sure why the Crimson Desert community has this fascination with water. I look over in YouTube. Ask him why the mech suit looks like a diving suit. Ask him.
They want to know that that is an explorable area, and unless he confirms it, I'm not going to. So, and you can go back to the video and see the VOD on that part. It was pretty elaborate answer. I'm not going to repeat it.
I don't know. Like it's because bathyspheres are cool. Like I don't know.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
Big Daddy influence. That's right.
Yeah.
Some
It's like-
let's do a little lightning round. I've collected a handful of
Yeah,
stuff here.
let's
that-
go.
I have a few of my own.
Yeah, that can be like yes or no answers. Dungeons. Are there caves that I can explore? How deep?
The answer is yes.
How like expansive is that? Yes, no.
There's tons of hidden corners in the world.
Okay.
There's tons of stuff. I don't want to say like dungeons because that evokes certain like depth and like monsters and like there are a lot of hidden places in the world that are
He said caves and stuff like that. I would say, okay, is this Zelda? No. The exploration in this game is very rewarding.
outside of eyeshot if you're just staying on the surface.
Okay. Is there like a hunting system? We saw like some camouflage elements in some of
Yeah.
the stuff that.
Yeah.
Okay.
We saw him hunting, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there are different stats and different perks for different types of armor. Like that was like a ghillie suit.
Yeah.
So you can imagine that
Ghillie suits and BDO, by the way.
it would scare away some hunting beasts less.
Well, don't scare away my dog, Will. Please.
Quick little side question. Do you guys fully track all of the different things in the world? Like if someone wants to do like 100% where they make sure they've hit every spot, like is this the kind of thing where you can open a world map and see like 0 of 12 dungeons? Or is there any system to kind of flag the player that they're finished with an area? Or
I don't know
region?
this question.
Yes. I'm being a little cautious of that answer. It's like it's not on the map. There's no check mark that goes on the map. Or
Yeah, I didn't know. And that's what I was alluding to. Like it wasn't obvious to me.
stuff. But in your journal and quest progression, you can see based on region, based on faction and house, whether you've done all the quests, whether or not you've still have quests to unlock within that house.
Yeah, but that's specific story. That's not the other stuff that he was. I've talked about this already in my review about the open world not feeling alive. That's probably because it's not like your Ubisoft open world. That's the difference. There's no like traditional towers that you have to go check mark to. There's fast travel points, stuff like that. That is, I guess, essentially what you find as a tower in this game per se. And I think this is what Will's alluding to as far as there's no like actual like check this off, check that off, because the caves and stuff are not like that, or dungeons, whatever you want to call it. They're not like you get stuff by exploring them. I don't think that's tracked. That's the distinction. That's the difference. Main story stuff, obviously, that's got to be tracked because you got to know that, and that part of it is visible.
House, whether or not there's more. So there is a way to tell, but it's not like by just graying out or like checking off the region within your map.
Cool. Can you fight fully unarmed?
Sure, just unequip your sword.
Okay.
Wait, follow up. Does it work fighting unarmed in this game?
Oh, it's so
You
silly.
can, yeah. There's an unarmed power stat like on your
There we
skill,
go.
like
Okay, cool.
about like
And this is why when I went and did my thoughts and opinions on the next character in this game, because like if you know BDO, I can't think of the name of it. I can't think of the name of the I know it's Monk. That's commonly what you get for the melee in these kind of games. Striker, I think it's called a striker. I think this game has that already, a brawl striker system. So I wouldn't even. I was gonna mention that as potentially the next thing, but I think they already got that covered in the game, and that's why I really did think that Ninja in Kunichi was the next one. I just think that one be the most distinct and different, and I think you can get more like. There's already aerial. Obviously, you've seen that in the trailers and stuff with being able to launch himself and stuff like that. But from a different animation perspective, I think you could do better with the Ninja and Kunichi class to get that mobility and that aerial thing. That's why I think they would be next, and not sorcery or magic. But then again, it could be either or of those. Striker is the male, Mystic is the female, I think. Yeah, that makes sense. I forget which and which, yeah. What did you say, Optimum? I have to go back here. Showcase with Luke Stevens. He said all this? Okay.
How much damage it does. So you can. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it.
Okay.
Based on
Can you
the
dual wield?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. We showed it off on the trailer features video 2 for the first time. So that hadn't been shown off before that.
Cool. So Steam says 135 gigs needed for the install.
Yep.
Is that suggestion? Is that file size? Like what? How big's the file size going to be for install? Have you guys said exactly? Is it 135 and that's that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think as the development of BDO went, they kind of mixed different classes together. You already have that here with each of the different units because they have ranged. They're melee, obviously, some skills here and there. Yeah, and I do think that anything that comes into the game most likely won't just be straight up Ninja or Kunichi. I think they will have a mix something else as well, just to keep their builds pretty diverse based on the combat that's already here in the game.
Because this is a seamless open world, the file size needs to be fairly large in order to have the world and like have it not load. So a lot of that file size is the world
Okay.
itself.
Gotcha.
So that's why you're seeing that. It's because of the size and scale of the map itself.
Gotcha. Can you disable screen shake? Kind of going back to accessibility.
That was one of mine. Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Great. Is there a gear transmog system to where like if you want to always
Define.
look a certain way, but you want to wear the better quote piece of gear that gives you the stats you want, can you wear that and still appear one way?
I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't seen it. That doesn't mean it's not in the game.
Sure.
So anything I'm not sure about, I want to caveat that. Like it's personally, I don't know. I haven't seen it. It doesn't mean that
I wouldn't have. I've only played 55 hours. I never got into a situation where that was even something I was considering. I didn't know the answer to this. It wasn't apparent to me. That's all I can say.
that it won't be added to the game, but it just as of this point.
Yeah, it can add to the feel of the game as well. I know BDO has the screen shake and people love that. Some people do not like that at all. Some people literally hate that. Particle effects can obviously indicate certain things that you have to dodge, and not having those, which I think has already been talked about, right? You can disable those. That's going to affect you in gameplay in some aspects, unfortunately. But it's an accessibility option for people who have sensitive reactions to those kind of things, apparently.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a major amount of importance for a minor amount of people how much fashion you can do.
Look, well,
can do
I
a
want to
ton of that,
fucking
like,
slay if I'm out there slaying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
true.
you wanna
More
slay
importantly,
Iron Man. I get you.
I don't want to be a badass while looking like a clown.
Yeah, I mean the die system is pretty expensive.
So I want you to. So you're on the feature video 3 right now. There's go just
There
go
was a
to
die
the
system, yeah. If that's what
yeah.
you're
Go to
referencing.
that go to that
Yeah,
screen.
yeah.
Let's just talk about that screen. There you.
There it is, right there. Yep.
That's hair dye.
You can do pretty much every piece. It's pretty expansive. It's carried over from BDO and expand upon a little bit.
Go to the armor dye. It's right after this.
Yep,
Yeah.
there you go.
So pause right there. You see the different armors on the left,
hmm
right?
And Optima, before you say anything, because I know you're still here, and they already knew that. I already knew that. Okay, obviously, you weren't here. I've been doing this for 2.5 hours. Go back, go back, go back. Rewatch this video. Plenty of things that I said before it was made public or Will said, and you can be like, "Well, Luke, Steve, and Showcase said that." I haven't watched a lot of this stuff. Okay, believe me or don't believe me at this point. I'm not doing this for you. Okay.
So, and then parts of the individual armor. This isn't like this is chain it, and I don't want to be definitive and universal of like every element of every piece, but this is not just like change your shirt to blue. It's what part of the shirt, what color. Like this is a very, very detailed customization standpoint for majority of items in the game. So
Cool.
this is
I got to be honest.
see-
If this system is this advanced and there's not a transmog system, I would be almost
Hmm.
surprised. Like, good God, this.
well, that's the
this
thing
is
is like
wild.
so
Also, the armor sets are gorgeous. I have to
yeah,
Yeah, they look really good.
because of the detail of this, like I don't know to be honest. Like
It
I
wasn't
think
apparent to
that they
me.
want you to they want you to customize the gear that you're wearing.
Mm.
If I were to take a guess, rather than have look universally the same, but I think that's I just want to lean into the amount.
Does
of, like,
does BDO have the transmog? I don't think it does. I don't think BDO had it either. And I think this could lean into the possibility that in the future, I don't know what's this. Maybe they might want to sell you stuff, and that's why they're not having it in here. Transmog is basically you're able to, if you acquire an item, and essentially you acquire another item of that same type, whatever it be, armor piece, right? Transmog allows you to take that previous item that you like the look of, but you want the stats of the new item and put it over there as the look. I don't think it has that, right? BDO didn't have that transmog system, and this wasn't apparent to me. I was on it being not, but I knew the die system, which was fine for me personally. I think that was already established here. The armor does look fantastic in this game, especially on the people. The NPCs are kind of questionable, but main characters and stuff like that, it looks fantastic, rendered really
there's
nicely.
a ton of customization within the individual elements, like the pieces of the gear and the individual colors of it. Like there's a
What
there's a
open
way
world
to
is this?
make the character
We were talking about that before. Oof. We were talking about that before with the open world. Somebody asked if it's alive, and then I was trying to go through the specifics of it. What open world would it most resemble? I would say it's probably, it's not GTA, it's not Witcher. I mean, there's elements of Witcher. There's elements of Assassin's Creed or Ubisoft-like games. I've never played Ghost of Yotai. Ghost of Tsushima I never really played. I played all the Fallouts. It's not like that in many aspects. Like obviously it's an open world, so a lot of them share similarities. This is what I'm unfortunately I'm having an issue with because it's not alive. It's not. There's a lot of static stuff in this world, and that can be bad and good depending on what you want from it. Then there's set pieces, there's side quests and stuff, there's main story that make it more alive. And those are spread out throughout the entire world. Then there's obviously other things too. Maybe Horizon? Which would be like a Ubisoft game. Maybe Horizon. If you play that game. PlayStation exclusive game. Well, it's on PC too. That's the only game I've played. Yeah, let's go with that. But it has elements of Ubisoft, it has elements of Witcher, it has elements of a lot of the other things too. It's just not as deep and alive as GTA.
And that's from gear, from facial tattoos, from hairstyle, all of those things. Like, make that your
Oh,
character.
outfit versus armor
This is a set
visible. Okay.
protagonist. Make them your own.
Armor being the
Cool.
default. Yeah. I think I
someone-
obviously, and this just I'm gonna be honest with you. This points to them wanting to sell that. This points to this still being potentially an online thing in the future. Because if they had transmog, which, like I said, I never noticed it. I used the die system; it was totally fine. Then all that stuff would not be needed, and it would have been a separate system that they would have built for this game as a single player game, which is not uncommon. But they didn't, and I think they have plans. I think they have plans to sell you armor. I think they have plans to sell you certain things that are going to make you look a certain way, and they want you to buy that specifically. And they want you to have the characters have a certain look to them as well. Honestly.
I was asking about the like marketing path. I'm sure there's more updates all the way up until release. You guys are kind of saving stuff so it's in the
Did you
the
not
conversation
Did you not
week
hear
after
I
week.
don't understand why the community keeps asking
Optimum? Did you not hear my answer? I just told you what the open world is compared to. Hold on. What did
that
you say?
question. Why would I tell them why versus of the gear and the individual colors of it? Like, there's a way to make the character your own, and that's from gear, from facial tattoos, from hairstyle, all of those things. Like, make that your character. This is a set protagonist. Make them your own.
Cool. Someone was asking about the like marketing path. I'm sure there's more updates all the way up until release. You guys are kind of saving stuff so it's in the conversation week after
I
week.
don't understand why the community keeps asking that question. Why would I tell them what we're doing for marketing standpoint? And like, it's not to
Well,
talk like,
it's like I feel like
Will, they have to start writing their Reddit posts and tweets, man.
Yeah,
like, this
no,
stuff
but,
takes
like,
this
time.
this is a weird thing. Like, I've never, like, again, like, I've worked in games for almost 20 years. I've never had someone ask me what I'm doing next for marketing.
it is
So
a weird
this
thing.
This is what you find out. It's like, who's asking that? Oh, I work marketing at a different company. This has been going
like, why
really
would
well,
I-
and I'd like to
Why
know what
would
you're
I
doing.
allow us to be T-boned? Like,
Yeah,
there's
it is kind of
there's
like the
Mount-
evolution of a fan. I feel like in today's day and age,
Yeah.
right? Where
like
they're
there's Mouse
keen on this stuff.
PI coming out on our date, which I'm gonna play as well. Like, why am I gonna tell them what I'm gonna do for marketing?
Yeah.
Just be like, I will give you your answer a little bit each day up until release.
Well,
I'll
I
give you a
mean-
letter a day.
Just watch.
And
Yeah,
also,
you
like,
can just watch
also
me work.
marketing means very different things to different people.
Sure, that's true. Yeah.
And I think that's where it's like, okay, these are effectively, these are community pieces we've been releasing. Like marketing is like, means like putting money behind assets and like really expanding the audience. So I'm definitely not telling what we're doing there, like how we're spending our money.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a concern that we're not releasing anything else.
What happened?
Which I'll just point to, like, we have our creator and our media event at the end of the month.
So this does
that
end in
we've
like
announced that we're doing globally
30 minutes,
in
apparently.
A
multiple-
weird
This
thing.
is what you find out. It's like, who's asking that? Oh, I work marketing at a different.
all of those things. Like, make that your character. This is a set protagonist. Make them your own.
Cool. Someone was asking about the like marketing path. I'm sure there's more updates all the way up until release. You guys are kind of saving stuff so it's in the conversation week after
I
week.
don't understand why the community keeps asking that question. Why would I tell them what we're doing for marketing standpoint and like it's not to
Well,
talk like
it's like I feel like
Will, they have to start writing their Reddit posts and tweets, man.
Yeah,
like, this
no,
stuff
but,
takes
like,
time.
this is a weird thing. Like I've never like again, like I've worked in games for almost 20 years. I've never had someone ask me what I'm doing next for marketing.
it is
so
a weird
This
thing.
is when you find out. It's like, who's asking that? Oh, I work marketing at a different company. This has been going
like,
really
why would
well,
I-
and I'd like to
Why
know what
would
you're
I
doing.
allow us to be T-boned? Like
Yeah.
there's
It is kind of
there's
like the
Mouse-
evolution of a fan. I feel like in today's day and age,
Yeah.
right? Where
like
they're
there's Mouse
keen on this
PI
stuff.
coming out on our date, which I'm gonna play as well. Like, why am I gonna tell them what I'm gonna do for marketing?
Yeah.
Just be like, I will give you your answer, a little bit each day up until release.
I'll
I
give you a
mean-
letter a day.
Just watch.
And
Yeah,
also,
you
like,
can just watch
also
me work.
marketing means very different things to different people.
Sure, that's true.
Like,
Yeah.
And I think that's where it's like, okay, these are effectively these are community pieces we've been releasing. Like marketing is like means like putting money behind assets and like really expanding the audience. So I'm definitely not telling what we're doing there, like how we're spending our money.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a concern that we're not releasing anything else, which I'll just point to, like, we have our creator and our media event at the end of the month, that we've announced that we're doing globally in multiple regions. That like stuff will come out of that.
Cool.
So
You could also go on podcasts and talk about the game and answer a bunch of questions.
That is
No,
true. That might be
no.
a thing you can
my
do.
internet's trying to prevent me from doing that. so-
Yeah, well, that's also true. That's also true. Let's see. I like it. There any different dragon types, or is it just a dragon? Dragon
How much can you
customization?
customize it?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Play the game.
Can I armor
Sorry,
it?
like,
Okay, that's fair. Okay.
Yeah.
Play the
like
game.
sorry about that. Like, but
I like someone in my
Like-
chat said, "Can you play Gwent?"
Jesus
Or you
we
Christ.
just showed gambling. Like there's
Yeah,
gambling
there's
for
some
this game.
gambling. There's some gambling. Yeah.
No, I think he
Well,
said.
that
He
checked
actually did
a
say.
question off of my lightning round.
Yeah.
No, to be fair, I think he actually was saying, is there like, are there Gwent style games in it? But I think we just saw that earlier. You guys
Yep.
have like little mini games.
Yeah,
things
they
like
Yeah,
that.
there's a ton of different mini games, including
Lots
there's
of gambling. Yes.
There's gambling. So there'll be fun games that this isn't Texas Hold'em or anything like that. I think that this will be games that a lot of people will experience for the first time. So
Now, here's a
Okay,
really
I-
important one. Can you romance the
I was just about to
dragons?
read that from the Steven.
Yeah.
I swear this is coming from the New Game Plus showcase that we did, where the first question I got asked was by Luality,
Yeah.
and it was can you sleep with the dragons in the game?
That's, yeah. You know, that
Uh,
checks
So
out.
that was already answered. Okay, cool.
Yeah, no, well, I gave him a non-answer. I said I said you can form a relationship. I don't know if it's the one you want though.
Very true. That's some director of marketing, not of PR,
Yeah,
of marketing right
You
there.
can ride the dragons. Read into that however you want.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Whoa.
Fair enough. I'm good. That's all I got the answers.
Scaly's going wild right
I
now.
wanted. Yeah.
I have a few. I
Okay,
have
go
a
ahead.
few.
Yeah.
Someone asked as far as the if you get a hard copy on console, is it online only or can you play it offline?
That goes back to like the kind of the de novo question and stuff that I just don't I
Mhm.
don't know. So I don't
Okay.
feel comfortable giving a definitive answer to that one.
Okay.
I would say, and this is something that's not fully understood by communities, so I want to take a second here. Update the game. Like if you get a hard copy, please patch the game. Like in order to create hard copies of the game, like you have to print those weeks before release, and then the developers spend weeks continuing to make the game better.
It's not
Please
like
don't do
back in the day.
yourself,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's no
don't do
longer gold
yourself a
disc.
disservice, like, and not update the game. So please do that. So
Okay.
with that sense, online
Sorry.
required in order to have the best experience.
A lightning round.
Yeah.
No, to be fair, I think he actually was saying, is there like, are there Gwent style games in it? But I think we just saw that earlier. You guys have like little mini games. And
Yeah,
things
they
like
Yeah,
that.
there's a ton of different mini games, including
Lots of
there's,
gambling. Yes.
there's gambling. So there'll be fun games that and it's not, this isn't Texas Hold'em or anything like that. I think that this will be games that a lot of people will experience for the first time. So
Now, here's a
Okay,
really important one. Can you romance the
I was just about to
dragons?
read that from the Stevens.
Yeah.
I swear this is coming from the New Game Plus showcase that we did, where the first question I got asked was by Luality,
Yeah.
and it was can you sleep with the dragons in the game?
That's yeah. You know, that checks
So
out.
that was already answered. Okay, cool.
Yeah, no, well, I gave him a non-answer. I said I said you can form a relationship. I don't know if it's the one you want though.
Very true. That's some director of marketing, not of PR,
Yeah,
of
you-
marketing right
You
there.
can ride the dragons. Read into that however you want.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Whoa.
There's no romance
Fair
in the
enough.
game.
I'm good. That's
Sorry, I had
all
to
my.
step away.
I got the
Just
answer.
had a
Haley's
little bit
going
of a,
wild right
I
personal thing
want
had to
it.
deal with,
Yeah.
which-
I have
Still
a few.
ongoing, so
Okay,
I
go
might
ahead.
have to play again.
Yeah.
Someone asked, as far as
the
if
way
you
the
get a
rhythm-
hard copy on console, is it online only or can you play it offline?
That goes back to like the kind of the de novo question and stuff that I just don't I
Mhm.
don't know. So I don't
Okay.
feel comfortable giving a definitive answer to that one.
Okay.
I would say, and this is something that's not fully understood by communities, so I want to take a second here.
I have not played the PlayStation 5
Update the
Pro
game.
version.
Like if you get a hard copy, please patch the game. Like in order to create hard copies of the game, like you have to print those weeks before release, and then the developers spend weeks continuing to make the game better.
It's not
Please
like
don't do
back in the day.
yourself,
Yeah.
yeah,
There's no
don't do
longer
yourself
gold
a
disc.
disservice, like, and not update the game. So please do that. So
Okay.
with that sense, online required in order to have the best experience. But from a DRM standpoint, I just don't know the answer.
Cool.
Fishing? Question mark.
Yeah, we saw.
yeah.
We
Yes.
saw some.
Oh,
of
yes.
that.
Yep.
These are
Oh,
a lot of these are
yes.
just gonna be yes or no.
Yep.
Okay. I am a person. This is a personal question that I wanted to answer. I
You
am
are
a
a
person
society?
who likes. I am a human man. No, I'm a person who likes the option whether to do melee or ranged combat. Like, is there like, can I just do full on range? Is there magic, like mage-ish kind of things? Maybe just even like alchemy, like fire bombs and stuff or something.
Yeah, I don't want to say like mage build again
Okay.
because of like not classes
Right,
purely, but
right.
from a skill and unlockable like
I've already-
unlockable. I want to say like tactics more. And
I've already answered this to some extent. Like, based on my opinion of what the next class is going to be, Ninja Kenichi. I've already, and I've already said that mages and stuff are going to probably be the next class. I think there's stuff here that can give you that fantasy to some extent, but it's not going to be nearly as much as you would for a whole class. But I don't think that will be the next class. I think they're going to still rely on the combat aspect of the game if they're going to give you another character, and then I think they'll have like this whole mage thing that happens after that, and I think that will hype it up even more, which is why I think they'll wait at least for the second iteration of the characters for it to be like a mage specific build, because this is a very brawler heavy. They already have that, yeah. Valkyrie and stuff, a very brawler-esque kind of game. There's many things you can do, like mobility wise, aerial wise, item wise, that can give you some fantasies here and there. But legitimately, the thing that is the most prevalent is melee, sword, sword and board, ranger. Like, there's definitely range stuff in here. Those things are very clear, identifiable. That's why I don't know how he's going to answer it for the end of it, but that's my thoughts.
Like move
Sure.
set standpoint,
Right.
you can unlock a lot of range stuff
Okay.
to make like a ranged build pretty viable. But then, like if you have a boss arena that's close quarters, like you might have pigeonholed yourself a little bit there. So
Oh yes, I'm aware. That's something that I've
Yeah.
had to deal with throughout my action adventure gameplay, where you get
yeah,
I don't know why I turned on my
in
camera
a
again.
small arena with a big guy and you're like kind of screwed.
I'm
But
right here.
I,
Sorry.
there's ways around it. It's fine. I just want to know
yeah.
if you could do range build, and you answer my question.
You can 100% do range build. Does that carry you through everything? And should you like fully lean into that for all situations? No, variety is the spice of life.
All right, I'm coming back. I'm focused now,
Shut up.
everybody.
Anyways,
My situation got resolved, it looks like.
let's see. Oh, stamina bar. Well, how is stamina calculated or whatever in this game?
Sure. There's a little GUI interface. Sorry, ATM machine there. There's a little GUI right next to you. And that's your stamina bar. You use those abyss artifacts, unlock more stamina.
Okay.
And that one right there. Yeah. And your attacks, your blocks, like your rolls, everything like kind of plays into that. This is where like the arcade fighting style
Yeah, this is progression systems. We've already alluded to this before. These questions seem pretty basic. I'm not going to skip them per se, but I'm not going to sit here and have to like pre-interject a lot of these questions. Based on what Optimum said, obviously this has been already answered previously. I'm not going to be able to provide any more clarification than what will already do.
references like really come into play, where it's a little bit of a dance between your aggression and your defense, managing the stamina about how you go about encounters. So boss fights specifically.
This is all different from many
like,
similar games where
lean
people are
into
locked down to
that
one weapon
sort
type.
of,
The game lets you
FGC and, like,
use many
arcade
different
style
fluidity.
heritage
Yes, it's built on your
about how
it's
you're
built on
dancing
your
around that.
build
Okay.
identity.
Um,
Because it's not a character identity. I mean, there are dies and stuff inside the game, and I didn't really know that there was or wasn't a transmog because it wasn't something I messed with. Like I said, I've only played 55 hours. But at the same time, the build identity is what makes you distinct in this game, right? That's what's going to make you distinct. If you get a new character or you're doing with the alternate characters, like, yeah.
Another side question to that: is there a stamina bar outside of combat? Like, can I just run forever if I want to?
There is currently.
Okay.
So it's the same. I understand the question. I understand why people are asking the question. Currently, there is.
Yeah. Okay. I'd rather there not be. Just
Just
Throwing that out there.
I'm-
duly noted.
I'm
I'd
saying
also
I,
like to not
I
get take
understand
any damage
why.
when hit. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
And another reason why I don't know if that leads into. I think that's why again, a lot of these systems are transferred from BDO. And the limitations you have of that game for progression wise, and they want you to progress with those kind of systems to make it feel meaningful as well. Without that, it would feel less. But then again, Zelda has the same system, and it works relatively well there too.
Yeah.
You have a horse, and your horse can run faster.
Okay. There you go. Okay. Cool. Is everything voice acted? Like, is it 100% voice acted? I mean, obviously not books and stuff, but like,
I'm going to. Well, I'll not talk shit about other games. I will.
Like Zelda.
Whoa.
He's referencing Zelda. It's cool. It's voice enough. There's definitely a lot of voice dialogue inside the game. You had main weapon, side weapon, and all weapon after evolve, and every one also had some level of physical attack as well. Even mage, yeah.
All of our voice acting is by humans.
Got it. Okay.
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 So,
Um,
so like I'm pulling back from saying that 100% of all NPCs are 100% voice acted and everything, just because I'm categorically making.
What? Oh, it's because it probably ended, right? Where were we at? 1:30. Is there a playback of this? Don't start with me. Oh, maybe a copyright infringement. Don't start with me. He doesn't keep VODs? Wait, why am I on why am I on Ko's channel? It's me, JP. Oh, Ko's now does it? Does Ko usually? I thought the bots were over here. Well, you know what? I don't know what else we would have gotten there. Maybe I'll go
Your
to Twitch
brain
real
go
quick.
outside, and now it's like the phone's gonna rot your brain. Watch TV.
Yeah.
doesn't
it's a slightly lower tier of rot. You know,
Bots were over here. Oh boy. Let me go and see. What's it under? Is it me JP over here too? Dropped frames. Yeah, we just took a, and then I had that little mishap, unfortunately.
And
so
then-
it took me away from the game. Might have to stop there, everybody. Unfortunately. What is this? Oh, this is it, right? But we got to listen to ads.
Turn heads in the totally redesigned Subaru Outback. Dog tested.
Yeah, just wait a second. We're waiting for the ads to finish. We can do it from here, it looks like. Then you can't claim you first to know those stuff. That's not proof enough. Go back and rewind this video, Optimum. I've said enough. I don't need to say anymore. And I don't need to answer anything I don't want to answer. And there's some things I'm choosing not to. All right, so we're at 1:30-ish. Let's see if we can get close to that again.
By communities, so I want to take a second here. Update the game.
Okay,
Like
this
if you
is
get
that.
Okay. A few people are asking about a demo. Just curious.
I'm gonna give the same answer. This is a hard game to demo. It goes back to like
Sure.
We've already answered that question.
Cool.
Bet.
So
and
that's what we can do because like the amount of dev work to create a standalone demo, like I don't even know where we would even start with what point of the game which would be representative of the game.
yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. That's absolutely fair. And last question, just a minor. Is there like armor and weapon durability in the game?
What's your game
say
plan?
no?
What was the question? I'm sorry. I was
Well,
over his
I would
face.
say if you're spending that much time custom,
Weapon durability in the game?
Even know where we would even start with what point of the game which would be representative of the game.
yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. That's absolutely fair. And last question, just a minor. Is there like armor and weapon durability in the game? Please say no.
Well, I
Ah.
would say if you're spending that much time customizing it, I would hope
So,
you at least
so this
repair
is this is where old things have been on the internet. This is a thing that was in the game.
Oh, okay.
So-
Okay. I see
So
where
this
you're
this is where and certain tools and certain singular use items still have that, but durability for your primary weapons and your unique weapons is not a thing.
Okay, good. That's
Cool.
yeah.
So like this,
Great.
and let me define, like, if you have a pickaxe, if you have like a smithing hammer, if you have like a logging axe, like some of those utility items, I believe still have have durability, because you can make multiple of those. Like it's a thing. And then like I don't want to, I'm trying not to give away things that we haven't shown.
Yeah.
There are certain like item drops that are like singular use from like mob enemies,
Sure.
that also still have durability.
Sure.
So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
durability is in the
the
game. It's
arrow
not on your
arm, you get
primary
to use
weapon.
it like 5 times.
So
Something like that.
it's
Yeah.
that is
No, I just
those screenshots that have durability on your primary weapon are old and outdated.
So
no, I
one
just
thing
I hate being in the middle of a battle and you're not paying too much attention and it
You will
like
not
you
experience
have
that.
like
Your
3 swings
your
left.
weapon will not break. You're good.
Okay, good. That's all I care about.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
good.
yeah, no, you're good. That is not a thing.
Excellent.
So it is becoming very clear that this sandbox is going to be from the veneer, from the looks of it, like there's going to be more to do in this sandbox than most. And I know for many people, the next question in their mind is going to be, can I get in there and mod this?
I was
Is
wondering
that-
if the
is that
modding
something-
question was going to be. Obviously, I wouldn't know this. I've talked about this recently about the mod scene. I'm going to be honest with you. If they don't allow modding, that is 100% confirmation they're going to go co-op and multiplayer with this game. 100%. And they're going to want to maintain the infrastructure and the security of it. Or they don't want the engine to be exposed because it is Black Desert Online as well. And it's so similar. And I think it is, suspiciously. I don't think he even knows the answer. I think he's going to say no. I have an inkling. And this doesn't have anything to do with me playing the game. Obviously, this is a completely different question and answer section that I would just I already knew I wanted it. Keep up the good work. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
You guys have thought about or considered? Like this sandbox looks incredible. You can
We've
open it
got
up.
I hate modding. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I really do. It's the one thing about the PC Master Race that I hate the most. This is why I like console ecosystems, because although they've now adopted it, listen, and I've said this on a number of occasions, it's worth repeating. If you want to make a game, there are more systems and more engines out there now more than ever to make a game. The vision, the time, the coordination, the dedication that a team has to make one game that you play, the choices that they make based on what a skill does, how much damage you take, what kind of stamina you need, how fast a horse rides, how high a thing flies. That is decisions that these teams make. If you strip that away, it's no longer their game anymore. And I know they're like, I pay $70 for the game. It's my game. I get to do whatever I want with it. It's not a video game anymore. It's something. It's a Frankenstein. It's a Franken baby, and I fucking hate that. I fucking hate that. You might as well not even play video games. Just play whatever. You know what you can do now? You know what you can do now, mod teams? You can go into an AI system. It's called Genie, and you can type in a prompt to make a fucking game now. That's going to be that's what you're asking for. Prompt that away. I want this to be like this and this to be like that. That's what you're asking for these games to be when you mod them. Pisses me off. Pisses me off. It really does piss me off. That doesn't mean that I don't know the answer to this question. If I was developing this game, absolutely not. And I would find you inside my game kernels, and I would literally ban you from playing my game, and I'd refund you double the price of what you paid for it, because I'd be like, I don't want you here, and don't ever think about coming back. Okay? I'm sorry. Okay? And I don't like piracy. I don't like cheaters. And those things, I'll never change my mind on. And I know I'm old. And I know that makes me ugly and mean and gatekeeping and all that. I don't care. I like developing games is an ancient art of like 10, 100, 1,000 people coming together and making this one fucking beautiful thing. And when it's perfect, when it's amazing, to you go in there and fucking mod it, to get your to put your hands on that cake and push it all around and make it ugly and disformed, go fuck yourself, dude. Who do you think you are that $70 would ever amount to that?
On that question a lot, and I don't have a good answer for that. And let me walk you through the reason why I don't have a good answer. Because again, like I don't want to give like no or yes, like without thought process. I think that like the reasoning is incredibly important to have people understand like the approach we're taking as a studio.
Interesting.
Again, going back to our DNA.
That's an interesting word you would use from a PR perspective, the approach you're taking. You've already confirmed, and I don't believe you, that you don't have any additional combat or content lined up for this game. All right.
Our DNA comes from live service multiplayer.
Live service multiplayer, which is not a mod-friendly scene.
Like that, we can't allow that in that space. So historically, this has never even been a conversation at the studio. So
I think this confirms it more than anything, guys. Girls days. This confirms two things. This engine is way more similar to Black Desert Online than even the PR is trying to. They're trying to distance this out from being a Black Desert Online copy because that would unfortunately lessen it. I don't think it does, but it from a PR perspective, from a marketing perspective, it probably does. But I think it has so many bones, and I think they just have to switch it on in many cases for it to work. Not like 1-to-1. There's things that have been put into this game that have been additional to Black Desert Online that are single player minded. So yes, they would have to tweak some stuff. But I do think there's a work and build. If there is two studios, if there's two developers in this one studio working on this game, I think there is a work and build of this engine online. 100%.
Think that it makes sense specifically for the PC audience, and we need to have those conversations about what it looks like post launch. But I can't guarantee our stance of where we're going to end up from a studio standpoint on whether we're fully supportive of PC modding, because I don't know. I know historically where we have been because of that live service standpoint, but this is a different conversation, and I don't think we've fully had it yet.
Will, you would make the best politician.
It is
You're
true.
so,
It is.
you're so good at this.
It is true. It is. It's such a bad answer.
I see. No, I heard everything.
It's a
that
non-answer.
makes
It's
sense.
a diplomatic
Incredibly
answer.
important to like. I don't want to say no. I don't like, nor do I even know.
I'm gonna say it. It's a no. It's a no. If it doesn't have de novo anti-piracy protection, I think there's still a way to work around this engine potentially to do what people want to do with the mod scene. And I say that as a complete fucking layman in the mod scene. I know there's only so much you can do without the actual engine, and I know that Bethesda, Larry and I eventually conceded they've given out developer I think they've given out some form of the code to be able to mod even more. So I know that it does to do more extensive stuff. It allows you to have more access to the engine and it makes it easier. But I think there's a way to what's the word? Bioengineer backwards work it, something like that.
Sir, like it's not fully up to me. I want to walk everyone through the reasoning of the conversation, so that you can understand where
And look at these. The PC Master Race 1. All right, this is PC Master Race 1, PC Master Race 2, PC Master Race 3. Okay? These three want that. Look at it. Look at it. Me, JP. He ain't happy.
coming from as
It's
well.
contextualizing it.
Yeah.
It's incredibly contextual, and that's important because it's not an easy decision. And if we open up for this, then okay, well,
No online ever.
okay, well, they can do it for this game. Well, they can do it for the other game too, like in certain ways. Like, so it's a little bit of Pandora's box.
This is not a good answer at all. This confirms they will not support any kind of mod support, and there's a reason why, everybody. It's going to go co-op online. Not saying this version will. There could be another additional, and that could mean that there could be mod support for this particular engine, but I think this is so similar to BDO, which is what I've already assumed. I pretty much concluded that it's essentially an upgraded BDO engine. They're not going to do that.
Box, in a sense. And I don't know, candidly. So there is enough content to last you at launch, and
Mhm.
let's revisit this conversation after launch, and we can see, because personally, I don't hate the idea of modding,
I do.
but
He took a big
does
gulp.
it make sense for this game, or have we added enough features to allow for someone to do that, or do you just want to play as Shrek in this world? I don't know.
That is a horrible answer for the mod scene, because they don't care what you've added. They want a mod regardless.
Like,
I mean, Shrek would
You
be
heard it
kind
here.
of cool. Will are we doing Shrek,
Shrek confirmed.
collabs? Yeah.
yeah,
it's-
They'll make it into the Lord of the Rings, which would be cool. I'm not denying that, but at the same time, like, come on.
we've
I
Are you
just
in
wanted to go back to the-
DreamWorks now, one
Yeah.
and one?
I
You've
just
shown
wanted
you
to
can
return
carry
to the
the
question about
donkeys.
the dragon, and we'll just.
Can I be a donkey? Will
You can
is-
carry the donkeys. Shrek can carry the donkeys.
Okay.
So I don't
All
know.
right. Fair
But
enough. Fair
that's
enough.
so let's go here. At launch, we want to convey the developer's vision.
Cool.
If
Perfect.
if the community demands this and really wants us post-launch, let's take it up. Let's have a conversation.
Cool.
That's not a bad answer at the end.
Well, we've kept you over your time, but I will do final questions if the if Ko or Zeke have any. I feel like we've kind of thrown everything at you so far.
yeah.
So
I'll start, man. So first of all, just really appreciate it. I mean, you did answer pretty much every single question, and it's very clear you said pretty much everything you could. So really appreciate the transparency. That is awesome. I have known you for a while, and I've worked with you on many different projects. You seem palpably more excited about this one. Like this, there's a lot in this. What is the biggest? What is one or two of the biggest things about this that stand out to you? Like this is different.
Well, I've worked on really fun things. Like I don't want to and I don't want to there's a couple of things like behind me that this is my history of my career shelf behind me. Like I've worked on really cool things. There's something about launching a new IP. They're and that just is really, really fun. Not to say working on God of War isn't fun. Working on God of War was super cool. But when you're working on an established IP, you have things that you can't do or have to do because that is the brand. There is no brand Bible. For this, we're creating it in real time and we're establishing what this game is. And that allows from my seat, it allows for creative freedom. I don't make the games. So the impact that I can have in my seat is around generating excitement and getting people excited about the game. From a new IP, this is me as a kid in a candy store. And from a historic standpoint, the game I have the most time in the world on is Ultima Online. I have put tens of thousands of hours into that game. And
Good man.
this is this is a game for me. And in the sense of there's risk, reward, there's exploration. So oftentimes you're not working on a project that aligns with your particular palette. Doesn't mean it's not good, but this is a new IP that is also a game that I enjoy playing. And I play it at work because I have to, because it from my standpoint, in order to talk about things, I talk about them from my own experience, because that's the only way that it's universally true, is when I did this in the game, this
Yeah.
is how I felt. This is what it meant. This is one of those games that I keep finding myself wanting to come back to, which is rare. There are some games that when you launch them and you're like, I don't want to play that game at launch.
I'm tired. I've seen
Yeah,
so much.
I've played enough of this game. With this one, it has that amorphous nature to it, where like I can't quite pin down what it is, but you keep coming back to it, and that's when I think, like, internally, it's like, oh, there's something special here. So rallying around that and just getting in as many people's hands as possible, like, that's fun. So how do we cultivate that same experience, when genre doesn't do it justice, comparing it to other games doesn't do it justice, like when all of those traditional things that are tried and true in game marketing aren't appropriate for this game, how do you do that? So we've thrown away the book, and we're just getting people excited.
Cool.
So next question, can you give me the full marketing breakdown for until we're launched? Like what we're gonna be doing?
There it is.
Well, I don't
No,
know.
what a great
Code,
answer,
With all
man.
your
Code, you're
marketing
not
beats.
replying to our email, so I can't tell you that.
Oh shit. Oh shit. It
I
got
thought I had a
personal.
guy for that shit.
Looks like that's on you, homie.
It got personal it got real
Oh,
personal.
man. Oh, man.
Selfishly, I went to Chapel Hill. I'm trying to get a trip out to North Carolina.
There you go.
Oh, well, yeah, okay. Well, you know where to find.
Yeah. Zeke.
But
I had one last just straight up game mechanical question. How does saving work in the game?
actually, cool answer for this one.
Okay.
We have a great autosave system, and it's really good. Like, it's really, really, really good. I don't think I've ever talked about an autosave system as like this level of compliment, but anytime I've died, like, I haven't. The worst thing you can do is repeat content and just feel like, oh my god, I have to do that again.
Yeah.
I haven't experienced that yet. So whatever dev made the frequency and like save points for the autosave system, like, props to them. Like, this is the best autosave system I've personally experienced.
Okay.
Awesome.
And you
Is
can
there
manually
manual
save.
saving?
Yes, you can also do that. Yes.
Okay. The reason why I'm a gambler, and you said there's gambling in the game.
You want to
And
save scum? Yep. I got you.
yeah, kind of.
Yep.
Okay.
You got me.
All
Awesome.
Yep.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Mwah.
Well, fantastic. I think we've kept too much of your time here on Sunday.
I was
Will,
gonna
so
say,
we're gonna let
Will's
you
out
go.
of internet.
Yeah,
He's
your
run out.
internet's dying on us.
But
hey,
hate
All right.
You got all the great parts.
yeah, I hate the gigabit internet that
I didn't think it was going to take this long. So I'm going to be done. But let me just end it here. I don't expect to make any more Crimson Desert videos. I've already said that before. And I'm not going to give away some things I've already inferred here. Because I just don't like to spoil things, ultimately. And there are things that they haven't talked about. Potentially that could be, you could find it inside the game yourself, which is cool. Whether you believe it or not is not the important conclusion of this video. Here's what I want you to know, and it's the only thing that I've done, I think, in my past videos, is just setting your expectations correctly for this game. If you do that, not only will this game meet those, it will succeed them, which means that you'll be in this environment longer than you would have been if you came in here with too much hype, too many expectations, and then it fails, and then you're just going to be completely out of it because you're just not going to have fun. So set your expectations right. We've talked about it here in this video. My review sets the expectation right. All of my videos that I've made about this game set the expectation right. You come into it with that frame of mind, I can almost guarantee you're going to have a great experience. That's it, whether you believe me or not. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next video. This is a live stream, obviously. I'm probably going to cut some of this out and make it into a content. So maybe this will be the last video on my channel. We'll see what happens with this. But I want to thank everybody for joining me. Sorry for like the mid thing and like the 20 minutes that I had to step away, but